Denim on denim.
Gang.
Hey, D.
No. Oh, God. Hey, everybody. What up? It's your girl, Coley. Welcome back to another episode of Nights at the Round Table.
Woo! Wow. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm going to say I'm taking a sip. I should have saved it.
It's fine.
Was that supposed to be an air horn?
Yeah.
That was the absolute worst air horn I've ever heard.
Oh, you didn't realize it when I did the first I didn't do the spirit fingers with it.
Like the light started blinking, it's going dead.
That was
So
terrible.
Had a hole in it.
There was just a horn. There was no air in it.
Whoa, niggas, whoa. Everybody, welcome back. It's another episode. We out here. It's your girl, Coley. That familiar voice you might have heard. You hadn't heard it in a while. Who is that over there?
It's your wonderful man, Boost, over here, representing Jet Endeavor Co. and Johnson's here with University.
Here we go.
Here we go.
This is the part.
That's it. That's all I'm going to say today. But shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for having me back. I'm excited to be here.
Back.
Welcome back, buddy.
Who else over here with us?
This your boy Esquire. I'm here one more time in the building, just trying to see what the hell is happening.
Yes.
What up, yo? Naji's here.
What up, niggas? I'm so glad y'all are here on this wonderful day. We out here, another episode, having a grand old time. Our nigga, we found him. He was missing for an episode, but we glad he made it back.
You know, he was supposed to be here a long time ago. Couple episodes, actually.
Y'all announced that to people, though?
Actually, I don't think we meant.
See, so they ain't know.
We did not drag you. I intended
we did
to.
now.
Y'all know now. Look at me.
announced
Making me look just like a black person.
We announced
No.
It's Black History Month.
We just looked at the RSVP in shame. Like, he said he was going to be here. He could at least change it to maybe.
And you know what? Shout out to who was it? Shout out to Jarvis. Jarvis wanted to meet you. He said, "Is that guy Boost coming?"
Who that? Hey, Jarvis. Shout out to you out there.
Yes. So he wanted to meet you, but you were not here to him. So Jarvis, we love you. Good shit.
Jarvis showed
Shout out
us.
to you, Jarvis. I'm here now. Too bad you're not here, brother. Catch you on the next round.
For sure. So what's been going on, guys? Anything? We had Valentine's Day going on. We had it's Black History Month.
I was going to say, back to the more important. It is Black History Month.
Did Valentine's Day? Thank you for reminding me, Coley. Did you have a Valentine's with like her full makeup and weave ready this year?
You know, sir, I actually decided to opt out of Valentine's Day this year.
Boo.
I didn't go to Valentine's Day this year.
You didn't go to Valentine's Day?
I might go next year.
I mean, if I had cooperated, he would have had somebody in full makeup with hair that does not belong to
Absolutely.
her. But
because since you put it out there, Coley actually stood me up on Valentine's Day. You guys.
No.
It's called retribution.
We're gonna call a spade a spade.
Hearts go.
Yeah.
gonna
Pot
call
calling
a
kettle
spade a
black.
spade.
That's what it was.
oh
Wow.
man,
I
I
mean-
didn't have a Valentine either, but I opted out also.
She said I didn't have a Valentine's Day. Damn, sure I'm about to be you.
Oh God.
Keep
That's
it
a fact.
real.
That's basically what happened.
Y'all had a lot more activity than I did. I tried to sleep through Valentine's Day.
So what I had proposed to her was let's go to karaoke and let's sing all of the R&B songs so we can just realize how heartbroken we are. But didn't go that way.
Oh, okay. I feel like I heard about this in pre-production when she was talking about
I did
singing
bring it
all the
up.
sad songs. When I was like, you gotta sing that Tony Braxton.
Full disclosure, Boost does a wonderful job on Incomplete.
Yes, he
by,
does.
fucking,
I greatly appreciate
Cisco.
that. I will co-sign that statement because that is not a joke.
You give the people what they
Like to
want.
know
You
if
give the
that was
people
a
what they
true
want.
statement.
That's
you
a true
can
joke.
Meet us at
A true
8:12
joke. Sorry.
any Friday
True statement.
evening. All
True
right?
statement.
Because that Incomplete is no joke. All right, the vocals might not be on point, but that performance is stellar.
Did you
got
go?
it.
I keep, yes, he does all that. I keep
There's
waiting
a
on
lot.
him to
You just
get
gotta come
nominated
witness it
for a
yourself,
fucking
man.
Oscar every
You
time.
gotta come witness it
He
yourself.
goes up
I'm telling
there.
you, crowd participation, all that.
Where was this
I
at
do
that
it
you
all.
guys were doing? You at a local karaoke spot?
820.
Yeah,
At this point, I've
820.
seen him do
Okay.
it thrice.
Thrice
I've seen it
times.
thrice.
Wherever a mic plugs in,
times.
you might get
Once at
tonight.
work.
Oh, that
On a
karaoke
mic.
stuff y'all did at work?
Yes.
Okay, that's what's up.
But no, don't pay attention to that one though. That wasn't the great performance.
no, I didn't see you at all. But I
Good.
saw Coley do something.
Good. Yeah.
That was interesting. You had a Valentine.
Yeah. I had a
Or
Valentine.
have. You will always have one at this point.
Yeah, hashtag
Oh,
forever Valentine.
Forever. Yeah.
What?
Yes.
That was actually our last dance song. That
Swear.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yeah, most people didn't because we kicked everybody
We
out.
were gone. Downstairs waiting.
Took a while to kick them out. But what did we do? We didn't do anything on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
We didn't do anything. She was just in the bed recouping.
Cool.
And
Sometimes you just got to be in another room to be like,
Yes.
that's what it was.
baby, you back there? Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Cool, that's all I need. That's all I need. Can I hear you?
Well, that is good. I'm glad y'all are back out here. What are we drinking on this evening?
I'll go first. I've got the delicious tropical fruit punch Mystic.
Oh shit.
That's it.
Mystic.
That's it, little Mystic. Got it from the little Chinese store whenever I got my sesame chicken on the way over here.
That's calling back to 99 to 2001.
Bro, gotta be.
Got that time period.
Mystic.
Bro,
Where did you buy that?
At the Chinese store where I got my
I
Chinese
used to do
food
a
from.
Mystic
It's the only
with
place
some
I've ever
Welch
seen it.
Pringles.
Well,
I
that's
used to
fair.
love that
I'm
shit.
gonna, Naji, that's fair because all Chinese restaurants sell Mystic. I think Chinese restaurants are like 5 years behind. So
Well, Mystic is longer than 5 years ago.
I'm about to say they know how to play on niggas' feelings. That's what that is.
Yeah.
They are
Ooh.
very
But this is pure
nostalgic.
nostalgia. It's like,
Yeah.
ooh. They have Fago too.
And then you be trying to remember.
Fango.
They have Fago.
the juice soda,
Yeah.
you can't call it soda. You
Fago.
got the juice soda.
Fago, the
Oh, I
little
love
Sam's
those.
brand.
They had
A
peach.
Fango? No, that's
No,
Fanta.
that's Fanta.
Okay.
Fago.
I was not know that being in
No,
the song.
Fago. They got peach.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
That's in
different Fagos.
Connecticut.
Well, y'all don't know what the
I don't think I've ever had a Fago before.
That's because you ain't go to John C. Smith.
While Najee's over
Yeah.
here on memory lane.
We had name brand sodas.
Our
We
C
did.
stores had all the sodas. See, y'all don't call them C stores. Y'all probably went to the gas
We
station.
called them
We
C
got C
stores,
stores.
but it's
Oh,
okay.
C
We just
stores.
didn't have WIC approved C stores.
Sorry for y'all.
Hold it.
I'm
Hold
sorry for
it.
y'all that our girls had babies in real life, but they still want to go ahead and get an education, and the school cared about that, so they made sure they could use their wit.
Hold it.
For everybody, I want y'all to understand. I am just joking. I am completely joking. There's not.
I'm absolutely
WIC
sure. I was
accepted
gonna
at
say
all.
John C. Smith does
John
not
C.
accept
Smith.
WIC, but if there was a school to do it, it'd be Smith because they care about the community.
But y'all did be having Tahitian treat parties.
with crushed ice.
What we do have,
The gas station ice.
Gotta be. Somebody drop that bag.
Whoa,
Drop the
whoa.
bag.
Whoa. I am drinking.
We can. You
oh
drink
yeah,
it.
that was a
Yes.
thing.
We can
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah. What are
I'm
y'all drinking?
Oh, we are drinking Bullet whiskey.
Bullet.
Yes.
Bullet.
With a
Yes.
little splash of ginger. Esquire fixed us up real nicely. Thank you.
And fun stoppers.
And fun. We do have fun stoppers only because we have to work in
I
the
thought it was
morning.
party stoppers.
Fun
I always called it
stoppers.
party stoppers. I've been wrong for months.
I think
You
it
can
could
have
be
a lot of
either.
fun
Fun
outside of a
stopper was
party.
the
We could be
original.
both.
No, but I was going off of what you told me that your cousin called it. So I've been calling it
Stopper.
party stoppers, and I'm like, no, you're wrong.
You
Nigga.
can have a lot of fun outside of a party.
That could be
or
the
the
other
lack
brand.
thereof if you add too much of this.
You got to give people choice. So party
Yes,
stoppers, fun
pro-choice.
stoppers, you know.
I'm gonna go
Yes.
with fun.
Pick either or.
It was fun. I was just quoting incorrectly. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's fine. But we're good. We're over here just chilling out. While we're drinking, what have we been listening to this week? Esquire,
I can start off.
you can start. Baby.
So I have been listening to the reincarnation of Joe Jackson. Actually, no, I'm lying. He just had that thick mustache like
He
Joe.
has- he
that
is an
nasty
interesting looking nigga.
mustache like Joe Jackson. But the guy's name is R.
He did on his Instagram. It says pronounced R Lum R. That's
So
what he
that's
said.
R.LUM.R. He has an album called Surfacing Out, and I must say that is a
This thing is
solid piece of work. Like really, really, really good. Some notable tracks on there are Cold, Happy, Give Me a Reason. it's just an overall
What's
good.
that midnight joint?
Yes,
That joint is like it gets deep at the end. I like that.
I don't want to say it's like it's R&B, but it's like a light contemporary R&B. But he does a whole lot with like strings and the guitar, and I love a good guitar. Like it's a really
He's
good
real
album.
in touch with his feelings. I think you might actually like him.
I might.
I know you don't really care sometimes, but I think you
sometimes
might
I
like
like to get in touch with my feelings. You know.
He's a good one. You start
Speaking
with
of
that,
that,
you can straight
if we
go.
switching over to me, then
You can switch.
because I have been in touch with my feelings these last few days. You know, Valentine's Day had just passed up. Told you I didn't go this year.
Oh, okay.
So I had actually been listening to a little bit of "Caught Up in the Raps" by Auntie Anita, real quick. Yeah, I'm just
Anita
joking.
Baker?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
no, I won't joking, but I am just joking because I was listening to a little bit of that. But my person that I wanted to shout out, the album that I actually been listening to this week was, well, actually more or less today, really, because R.I.P. to Pop Smoke.
Yes.
R.I.P. to Pop Smoke. So
R.I.P.
I have
man.
actually been listening to the Jack Boys album. Pop Smoke is featured on a song up there called Gotti. It's the last one on there, so go ahead and check that out. It's the 7th track up there. But if you're not familiar with the Jack Boys album, that is a compilation album from Travis Scott, and everyone signed to his label, Cactus Jack. They have about a 7-track little album out there. And again, Pop Smoke is featured on that last one, so I've been listening to that all day.
It didn't sound that bad.
Yeah,
I did play
it was
upstairs.
really good.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
It was
I did
You guys
not
check
like
that
it.
out if you're not familiar. It's a really good album.
Not to be confused with drill music.
Yeah, Pop Smoke is more of a New York drill rapper.
Drill rapper.
So if you guys are not familiar with drill music, again, because I was actually just updating them on that, drill is extremely ratchet, kind of gun shooting, bang, bang, bang kind of music.
Yeah.
If you know Chief Keef, he is a drill rapper. That's Chicago drill. Pop Smoke was a New York drill rapper. And yeah, so that's kind of a thing. Again, Drake listens to a lot of drill music.
So with that song, I don't wanna take your money. Is that drill rap?
What's that?
That was a cash register though.
Yeah.
But they do the shooting.
I know I'm saying, but there was a
Bang,
cash
bang,
register
bang.
in there too. So I don't know. It was like money and guns. So that's like real drill, ain't
Are
it?
you singing MIA?
Yes.
Bye, man.
Is that drill rap?
It took me a second to actually put it together. Like I was like, "What's that?"
So
I
she's
was
a pioneer
serious.
of drill rap.
She is not.
So
being
some
mentioned in this
notable
final
tracks
note.
on that album would be
Well,
track 3,
give her her
Gang
flowers
Gang.
while she's here.
Track 4, Had Enough. Track 5, Out West. And then, of course, track 7, Gotti.
There's only 7 tracks. You could have just said 1 through 7.
I know
I
exactly.
do
who-
actually love 1 through 7, but, I had to get my favorites on there. It's only excluding about 3 of them.
My
Oh
fire
my
note
God.
is MIA next time because Booze does not want to give her flowers while she's here.
Goodbye. Someone we are giving flowers to. First of all, shout out to Pinky. You're gonna love this. Justin Bieber has a new album out. It's called Changes. And I was pleasantly pleased. I didn't think I would. I knew I would be. His last album I enjoyed. We've already talked about that. But key tracks for me are "Get Me" featuring Kalani and ETA. So he's got the same team working on like the last album, Purpose. But I think it's more of all the stuff that we really liked about Purpose is on this album. It rides nice. I like it. Good job, Justin. You back? He in love. It's good. Got a little body roll out there. I'm
Bro,
nice with it.
I was at the corner store today, and the ladies behind the cash register, Yummy was playing.
Yes.
And she was like, "God, I hate this song." And I was like,
Wow.
"Oh, okay." And she was like, "I just hate Justin Bieber." And I was like, "All right." And the other lady was like, "Yeah, he's just terrible." And I was like, "Shit, damn." Like,
Wow.
can I get these sunflower seeds, please? Appreciate it.
I also would like to give a honorable mention to my cousin, my family, young nigga by the name of Sino Dollars. He dropped his.
Sino?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Is he a drill rapper?
He is not. He is from right here around the corner, but he dropped his debut album, No Going Out. Proud of you, cuz it's good shit. Favorite tracks from me are going to be his outro, which is real kind of killer. I like that. And a little joint called That's Me. I hope to hear that on the radio sometime soon. Love you, bro. You did a really good job with that one.
What kind of music is it?
He is a hip hop artist,
Okay.
not drill.
Seen no dollars.
I don't know that I would call it especially violent, but it does have some hood elements, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
Is it? So it is rap.
It's straight rap,
It is
not
rap.
hip hop.
It is.
Okay.
It is a hip hoppity rap, whatever you want to call it. Another young guy that we grew up with, Zaquan. Shout out to you, bro, singing your ass off. Good job for you too, man. It's good stuff.
What's his name again?
My cousin is Sino Dollars.
Oh, not your cousin.
So this is the singer, Zaquan.
Is that with an X or a Z?
Z. Yes.
She don't actually know.
Tell her no lie.
I actually don't.
If you found my cousin, you
I
can
was
find
thinking about
Zaquan.
the album, looking at it. I'm pretty sure it's a Z. Don't give me the
I have
line.
no clue.
But anyway,
we just
Najee,
always
what
said
you
it. We
been
never
listening
spelled
to?
it.
We are off the rails. What are you listening to?
So mine is completely opposite of that and drill.
Yes.
Her name is Colette Lush. The album is called 7-1.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a 20-minute album, 7 tracks. The whole
Yes.
shit is fire. Honorable tracks. There we go. Say Less and Please.
Please.
I like all of them, but those two I really rock with. They it's real chill. It's just a cruising kind of shit. Like if you just wanted to chill out and rock to it, she's just lulling you with love.
She
and,
is, man.
And I didn't. So I had never. It came out in 2018. I'd never heard of it before. One of my homeboys sent it to me, and all he said was "You're welcome." And I was like, he said it was a group of us, and I was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Wait, you listen to this shit? This shit fire!" But I never thought you would listen to this shit. He surprised me. I was like, "Yo, shout out to you." But we appreciate him for it.
Oh, yeah, it's good stuff. That last 40 seconds of Please is it. You might like that too, Boost. Give that one a shot.
Put
too.
me on, man.
It's good stuff.
You know what I like now. You know by now what I like. Put me on.
We can do it.
Because you know what I didn't know that I had all that time, and I'm gonna say it again because they don't know.
God.
Y'all gotta tell y'all some stuff that y'all gonna be upset with me about.
What?
So, gotta give the backstory on it. So, Coley goes, "Hey, come with me to go purchase these tickets. I need to buy these tickets for this concert, and they won't only live by a certain amount." So I'm like, "All right, yeah, we go up here, let's do them." We go get these other tickets. So Coley's buying all these tickets. I'm right there with her as she purchased tickets for this artist, and I'm like, "Oh, I don't know who that is. How do you pronounce this name? That's all weird."
Snow Allegra.
It was Snow, you guys. So, mind you, I'm like, don't know nothing about this. One of my buddies, shout out to Yogi Berry, he's also a rapper who's putting out his new EP. It will be coming out in a couple of weeks, so we're going to shout him out now. But my friend Yogi Berry was here months, maybe a month or two before that whole thing happened with Coley buying the tickets, right? Downloaded all this R&B on my phone because, like, what you listen to right now, talk about all the rap and stuff. And he was like, what you listen for R&B? What you doing with the girls, whatever? It's like, I don't got no R&B. He's like, give me your phone. Download a bunch of stuff. He downloaded Snow. I had no idea how to really pronounce her name. I'm sorry. Don't talk about my JCU education because that's nothing to do with that. She just spelled her shit weird as fuck. But I had no idea how to pronounce her name, so I didn't put two together when Coley was buying tickets for it. It was the same girl.
Phonics would say that.
I actually love Snow Allegra and had loved it when we were buying tickets for it and did not know that that's the ticket she was purchasing. So I did not buy a ticket. So I'm not going to the Snow.
Damn.
And I'm obsessed with Snow.
You gotta
and
get you
I
some
was
better
right
friends,
there.
bro. Get you some better friends.
I'm so upset.
Get you a
But
friend
shout
I'll
out to
buy
my
you a
friend again, Yogi Berry, because he tried to put me on. I should have just knew ahead of time that that's what it was.
Well, here's a silver lining in that. At the time that you were buying those tickets with Coley, I do believe Coley ended up getting the last few tickets.
That is true.
In that booth, it'd have been real crazy if you realized what it was and you
would have
bought
bought
the
it for
ticket.
myself.
And, yes, and I don't know. Like, so
She
thankfully
would
it all
forgive
worked
me
out.
eventually. Coley don't hold grudges. In time.
Y'all were just talking about a grudge y'all hold before this shit started. Y'all literally said we hold grudges.
That is very. That was the statement.
Well,
that was the exact statement. And
that was
we're working on
the air record.
We're working on our Nights at the Round Table flashback machine.
We check out a satellite. We can run it back.
Well,
As soon as we return
it's
the
Black
satellite,
History Month. Won't hold no grudges against nobody black. If you black, won't hold no grudges for this whole month.
We were renting that damn satellite. We do got to get it back.
It was
because them
great,
late fees is crazy.
What's the y'all got no Black History fact for the month?
We got to
Y'all
make sure
no,
we rewind it before we turn it back in.
Y'all know Black History fact?
Lonnie Johnson invented.
No, he did. I'm sorry. Go ahead though. Finish. I'm sorry.
I think it's Lonnie or Lenny Johnson.
It's Lonnie.
Invented the Super Soaker. Shout out
All right,
to him.
so y'all know, and she ain't talking about the one between. Never mind. She's about the real Super Soaker, as in you can purchase by Nerve.
Also, shout out to Black History Month. There was a songwriter who said "One Night Only,"
One night only.
and then unfortunately someone took the
Effie White?
Miss Effie White.
Curtis
She took him.
to love me.
And then somebody took it and made a disco record with it. I was like, come on, yo. You ain't even giving no sampling credit for that. So shout out to Black History Month and
You niggas
our
are off
artists.
the rails.
Yes.
Esquire, why don't you tell us about some other people who are off the rails this week?
We're gonna move right into our damn who left the gate open.
I love it here.
Like, just go ahead and lock that back up. We don't use that. Can you just go to the back door? Actually, no, I'm not gonna start off. I'm gonna let Naji and you guys start off because I didn't watch the All-Star game at all this week.
Oh yeah, that shit. Nah, go ahead.
Well, I also did not watch it, but I did hear and see plenty of one of our greats. So we don't, to all the people out who like to cape on the internet, we are not shaming Miss Shaka Khan. We are simply pointing out that this was not one of her final moments.
We still honor you, Shaka.
Shaka, we will never take anything from you, but that was not it. That was, I don't know what was going on up there. When I was hearing it, I didn't know. Remember, y'all were playing it.
Yeah,
and I
absolutely.
was like, what is that?
As I listened to it, I was like, whoa. You got too much dip on your chip.
That
Too
is
much dip on
bad.
your chip,
Too much
man.
dip on your chip.
It
And
just,
Paige say, she say, that's Shaka Khan. I say, who? How?
yeah.
So, okay, for the people that didn't watch it, what was going on with Shaka Khan? What was she
So
saying?
so this is my best way to describe it because I'm no musician. I don't have a musical ear, but it sounded like what I imagined the first time someone heard jazz improvisation in like the 40s, and they were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" That's what it felt like to me.
Yes.
Damn.
And I was like, "Damn, shock! Like, I know you got it, but like, I can't follow you here. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I know all the words, but I don't know none
So
of the
she
shit
was
that you're
scatting
doing."
and stuff throughout the.
It wasn't like a
that?
bebop bop. It was just kind of a.
It was some juke joint, bluesy, Etta James type.
Yeah.
But it's the national anthem though, so like it's not meant to be. You don't.
If
do
you
that
took
with it.
At Last and like shot it with like 2 cranks of heroin, that's what you would have got. Track marks and all.
Wow.
It was really, and it just was like, damn, like, I couldn't get with it.
Did it sound bad?
She was on key.
She wasn't till she wasn't, but it just wasn't my idea of a good time.
It was real Color Purple Hoppo side joint type music.
I will not let you put that on that.
Why not?
It was because it was way worse than anything that could have been the Color Purple. That was a good ass movie.
I love the Color Purple
And
as a movie.
And Suge Avery was
It
singing her ass off in the juke
but it
joint.
was that type of vibe. That's
We're
what she
not
was
gonna
giving
do
off.
it was worse than that, but yeah,
It was real.
it just wasn't my idea of a
Juke
good time, and I really wish that it was just carryover from the dunk contest because it was just fraudulent shit happening everywhere in All-Star Weekend. Aaron Gordon got robbed again in the dunk contest.
I've been seeing that everywhere. I also did not watch the All-Star game myself, but I've been seeing that everywhere.
I'm gonna ask y'all this.
like
I'm gonna ask
he's
y'all
getting
this
robbed
question.
again.
Let me ask y'all this
Everybody
question.
is saying that.
And no one really. You don't have to know basketball. It's just numbers, right? You can add a little bit. So if I'm competing against you, right, and you don't get a perfect score, but I keep getting perfect scores, how can you beat me?
It's about heart. How much heart does she have?
No, we're going based
seriously,
off the
though.
If we're
scores.
talking about
If we're going off the
numbers, that
scores,
doesn't make
then-
any sense.
So here's the thing. So there were 2 rounds. You get 2 dunks in each round. He got a perfect score on both his dunks in the first round. The other guy did not get perfect scores on both his dunks in the first round. Second round comes around. He gets perfect scores again. Other dude gets perfect scores this time. They say, "Oh, we're gonna have a dunk off." It's like it's
No,
not.
I
It's
already
not
won.
tied. Like,
I already won.
And he said, "How I get perfect scores the whole time and I don't win," which is a very key point. I know they're doing the whole like we're trying to. Based off of you guys move to the next round and then you guys compete against each other, it's kind of like things are reset. But I think that was unfortunate because I preferred his dunks. He did a damn good job. He got robbed.
Well, speaking of people getting robbed, and I hate that he had perfect scores around the board. Other buddy was missing something, and he still came out ahead. That's
did.
hard. But you got to keep pushing forward. So look, are y'all excited about the reboot for Saved by the Bell coming back?
Not without my girl.
I was gonna say I was excited until I realized that Lisa Turtle was not gonna be on.
Boost, you hit it right on the head. So Lisa Turtle,
Fuck Jesse Spano.
Lisa Turtle was just on Dr. Oz, and I don't know if y'all had a chance to watch that clip or
I
not.
did not.
Yeah, she sounded hurt.
She sounded hurt, but Dr. Oz had her on there originally to talk about her bipolarism and what
She's bipolar.
her being
shit.
bipolar.
Okay.
But Dr. Oz didn't give a fuck about that. He was like, yeah, cool, take your medicine now.
Right.
Here's a journal entry that you wrote.
It's the journal
Did you
entry.
read it? And she grabbed her glass.
He handed her the glasses.
Bro, that shit was funny.
He was ready for her to go
Oh, my.
for the segment to go.
Yeah.
And he had her talk about her being left off of Saved by the Bell, the reboot, and she was genuinely hurt about that. I mean, it's Black History Month. How y'all leaving Lisa Turtle off of
Lisa's an
Saved by the
integral
Bell?
part of that cast. I don't
Hell
care
yeah.
what you
She
say.
absolutely
All the
is.
dudes wanted her. Except, I think Slater's the only one that didn't try and get at her.
Probably,
Zach
I
got
would
at her
say,
first.
Yeah.
Screech was in love with her from jump.
Yeah.
And all the other dudes that would see come through was all down for Lisa Turtle. Like
She was
Kelly,
a high school style icon.
She was the
out
baddie.
there. You
She
know?
was the baddie.
Still
she
is.
was. I used to be late for the school bus trying to watch Lisa Turtle.
facts.
Well, they were trying to say that. Well, they didn't really make an official statement. Her guess was that it had something to do with maybe her personal life and dealing with the bipolarism and stuff. Because Screech is not on there either.
He doesn't need to be.
Screech is-
He blew his chance for a reboot 20 years ago. But he was out there
Screech
releasing
is-
that.
I see what
porn.
you did there.
You see,
He blew it.
he blew it.
That young man is out of his mind.
Shazam!
I don't know. Keep Lisa Turtle in your prayers. That just means another blessing is coming along. Maybe she'll get on another TV show. Has she been in anything?
I
don't
have
think so.
not seen her in
I don't
anything.
think since how high I ain't seen her in nothing.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Well,
But she's more lucky than this next young lady.
yes. Actually, two next young ladies. But
Yes.
anyway, so y'all, it's Black History Month.
It is.
I hope that y'all are doing your best to educate the people. Like we did a fun Black fact.
We did.
And it's all about education because
It
a lot
is.
of times you don't know what's going on.
And people need to know.
And people need to know.
But
Like,
how you need to know it is a little different.
right. Because
excited to
systemic
hear this
racism
one.
is real. Systemic
is.
racism
I'm
is
excited
real.
for this.
It is.
Well, in Iowa,
Iowa at that.
Oh, you started off bad.
In Iowa, there was a.
I didn't realize it was in Iowa.
It was
Yes,
in Iowa.
when I read there, I said, Iowa, shit, that caucus shit had him fucked up.
Yes.
Caucus shit.
That meltdown just fucked the whole city up. Especially Black History Month. No, young man. I don't know if he was young man. He was charged with kidnapping and holding people against their will.
Did you say you don't know if he was a young man?
I think he's like
He's like
52 or
middle-
Oh, so he
Yes.
is a okay. Go ahead, continue.
Black man, that's
Black
important.
man.
Okay.
Black
He
man.
was inclined trying to teach a white woman and her daughter the errors of their ways when it came to racism. So he kidnapped this mother and daughter and made them watch and made them watch Roots. And so he made them watch Roots.
I hope it had commercials because that shit is long as fuck.
It's long, bro. That's a long time. And then they said he was assaulting. The education factor. But anyway, so the lady managed to make a phone call and get the police there.
Oh, God.
Black people. I want us to be mindful. I want us to know our past, educate these people. But kidnapping and making somebody watch Roots is not the way that you bring awareness to these issues like this.
Good. And they said he was drunk when they picked him up. So
He was very drunk.
And Roots is on the DVD player. And they're like, what the fuck is going on here?
And to be honest, I'm trying to figure out when the police were called, is it because of the kidnapping or because of the Roots? Because I don't want to sit down and watch Roots all the way through. I really don't.
This is
What
true.
was this for?
I actually think they let him go because he was willing to relinquish his copies of the Roots.
No, we thought we burned everything in the
He had the
city.
extended cut,
Right.
and made him watch it.
I'm sorry to that woman and her daughter.
I do not know this woman, but I am sorry to this woman.
At least let it be like Selma or like 12 Years a Slave. Something more updated.
Something better
I
production
can watch
value.
12 Years a Slave.
I've never seen that one.
It was
I've
like,
seen. I was gonna say. Well, since you done said it,
I was legit just
I ain't
naming
never
black
seen
movies.
Roots.
I haven't seen
it all the way
I haven't
through.
seen it all the way through.
I've seen 12
I
Years
saw
a
like
Slave. I
piece of
can't
on
do-
PBS or some shit.
I know he black. I just can't. Roots too long.
Boost.
It is long.
He was legitimately trying to cram a
do it.
full semester of black
do it.
education in 3 hours to this lady's
right.
head. And she was not going anywhere.
Shit, I would have broke
It's-
her out. I would have let her go if I was shit. I
The
can't
article
do
said
it.
that she said every time she would try to leave, he would yell at her, hustle her, and push her back down.
Right.
You need to watch this part. This is important.
That woman was scared for her life.
Oh,
All
God.
right? She was in there truly scared, y'all. And we over here laughing at her.
Young man, I do hope that you get your shit together out there in Iowa because that's terrible.
And if you see his mugshot, he's like smiling.
He is.
feels
He was
like,
proud of that
He
shit.
was very
I
proud.
have
And it was
done
Black History
something.
Month.
Yeah, I did my part. They're going to talk about me in the school books for this moment. He was
they're
Nat
not.
Turner.
Yeah,
He was
for
Nat
two-
Turner.
yes.
Get out of here.
Not that Nat Turner.
Or it was Ike Turner. I don't know. We go back to Ike.
I'm inclined to think that he was probably drinking the same alcohol that his niece was drinking. Next
At
on our
communion?
list.
Oh, well, maybe this lady was his niece. So look, last story. Did you hear about the New Jersey woman who embezzled? You are crying. But I knew you are falling apart. You still on this man making this white lady watch 3 hours of Roots and
I'm
her and her
good now,
daughter?
man. I'm
Because you know
good.
racism is learned.
I'm good.
She hit both generations.
Move on now. I'm good. I just,
Well, in New Jersey, close to Connecticut, there was a
That's
black
not that
lady.
close.
There was a black lady who was
like a 4-hour drive, y'all.
volunteering for the church, and she ended up
Amen.
embezzling $561,000.
That is crazy.
That's because she probably from Newark.
Jersey
Well,
City.
what did it say? It said like Wadesboro or something like that.
I did
No?
not read it fully. So I
Well,
don't-
anyway, she was paying for cell phones, her cell phone bills, car loans,
her wedding.
her rent. Yes, her wedding. And the crazy part is they were saying she was paying for a venue outside of that church that she was stealing money from. And you have to have one or two things.
Scamming in the Lord's name.
Either she had conviction, she's like, I can't do this. I can't ask to get married here
Okay.
and do this. Or she was just like, fuck it, I'm going all in. I'm going outside of this fucking church with the money you gave me or stole.
Listen, I'm not condoning this shit, but after paying for that wedding, I understand.
Wow.
If I see your head in the offer plate, we done. We
Nah,
done.
bro.
So we done.
Can I get my
That shit
change
was-
back? No, you
that
may
shit
not.
was Wow. Listen, she said but she paid for that and rent.
She was paying for that rent, car payments, and everything. They were saying she hadn't filed taxes in like 4 years because she didn't want the government to find out. She was like recreating the ledgers so the church wouldn't be suspicious. Like
she's smart.
She was kinda.
What kind of church was it? Baptist?
It said St. Paul's Baptist Church. St. Paul's
Had
Baptist
to be a
Church.
Baptist. I'm joking, y'all.
You are not about to have the Saints come after us, right? This is gonna be your last time here. If you
was
the
a
Saints come marching in here because of your ass, we're gonna have problems.
Those are all a mess, and they have all drunkenly run. And Shock, I did have a drinking problem. Maybe they're all drunk. I think everybody on this list is drunk.
Wait, what's the one I can't pronounce well? Episcopal? How you say that one?
Episcopal.
Okay, I had it right.
They're all drunk. Communion wine, regular wine, box wine.
Box wine. Don't forget the box wine.
To do it to you.
That should have take you out of here. But look,
You will not wake up.
you will not wake up. That's your full local
You go to
wine.
communion, they give you a little cup of box wine and a saltine. You'd be like, what the hell?
Something about that cardboard, it just hit different.
What the hell is this?
Well, look, that's been our Who Left the Gate Open. I'm sure there's going to be
Close
some
that shit
extra shit out here in these next few weeks. But we're going to take a moment to pause for one of our favorite business sponsors.
Are you in need of fashion advice? Do you have an event to attend and nothing to wear? Or perhaps you're throwing an event and have no one to host it? Well, look no further. Jet Endeavor Co. has you covered. No, really. They will cover you in some of the best garments out. And by best, they mean whatever you can afford. Jet Endeavor Co. is a fashion business where they express their visionary ideas through various forms of art, such as fashion design, wardrobe styling, image consulting, and even event hosting. So it doesn't matter if you're looking for someone to host your event, pick out your clothes, or even make the clothes. Whatever it is, Jet Endeavor Co. has you covered. You see what I did there? To learn more or set up consultations, follow them on Instagram at Jet Endeavor. Again, that's at JETXDEAVOR. They're Knights at the Round Table approved, so hit them up for your next big thing. And this week, on this shit right here, it is Black History Month. We did discuss that, right?
Happy Black History Month,
Absolutely.
niggas.
Happy out here,
Black
niggas
History
out
Month,
here.
y'all.
Spread the word. Please don't kidnap no white
This our
woman.
last Black History Month pod, ain't it?
It is. This is our last pod in the Black History Month for 2020.
Very fitting
That's
on
a
the
fact.
very
Yes.
fitting on the fucking topic.
Speaking
Yes.
of Black History Month, it's also our last CIAA in Charlotte.
It is.
Good.
It is. But anyway, actually, speaking of CIAA, that is what prompted me
CI
to
double nigga?
choose. Yes, CI double niggas.
Yeah.
It did prompt me to
I'm
choose
one of those
this.
niggas. I am niggas.
Choose this topic for this week.
Like a giant.
It is CIAA's last year here in Charlotte.
Don't trust no
And,
new niggas over there.
Oh, sorry.
It's gonna be a movie. It's gonna be a party for a lot of people out here, but also at the job where Boost and I work, there was a young man who came and spoke for our Black History Month event, and he was the dean of students at the Johnson C. Smith University
Johnson
here
C.
in
Smith University.
Charlotte, North Carolina. But
Prestigious.
he was speaking about HBCUs, their impact they have in our communities, and the graduates that they produce, and the things that they do in STEM and technology and things of that nature. And it got me to thinking that's very interesting that they brought someone.
You said STEM?
Yes, science,
STEM
technology.
program.
No, I know what it
Yes.
is. I just didn't know that. This is
Oh, yes.
not being funny. This is genuine. I didn't know that they did things with the STEM program there.
My mother
Yes,
worked
Johnson C.
for
Smith
Johnson
has
Smith
one
for
of the
about 4
leading
years.
STEM programs in the nation.
They
Oh,
do.
sweet.
My mother worked on a grant with them with some stuff. So they have a very good STEM program going over there. So I thought it was very interesting that our job did that one, but it got me to thinking about HBCUs and the fact that they have.
We give STEM programs to high school kids at our school, but whatever. We're not here to compete.
guys
I would
have
also
high
like to
schoolers?
preface this. If y'all notice that Boost gets very angry on this episode, it's because he is very passionate. So we'll go ahead and start with you. We're going to briefly discuss, LaQuayshawn, briefly discuss our college journeys, how we ended up at the schools that we ended up at, and we're going to move on. Boost.
All right.
This is your moment.
All right. I attended Johnson C. Smith in 2007. I ended up attending that school due to a friend of mine who I went to middle school with. Letting me know about Johnson C. Smith, and I'll leave it there. She let me know that it was a good school to attend. I was going through some different situations, and I went to Smith and had an amazing experience.
Fantastic.
We'll end it there.
That's good.
Shout out to you.
All the way from, where did you come from?
I came from Connecticut, New Haven, Connecticut. Shouts out to New Haven, Pistol Wave, New Haven. I hate to say that, but that's what we're known for.
Pistol
But
Wave.
again, yes, came from 08 New Haven, Connecticut to Charlotte, North Carolina. 12-hour drive.
I also initially chose a HBCU to attend. I had a couple choices. I did visit other places. My father was an alumnus of Livingstone College here in North Carolina, and he was like, you get a full scholarship. They'll take care of you and get everything you want. How about you do that instead? And I was like, sure. After not getting to the college I wanted to get into, I didn't really care where I ended up, to be honest. So I did go to Livingstone College for 1 year. So I did have an HBCU experience. It was not for me in that setting. So I did end up at UNC Charlotte, which I'll go ahead and say it before I let it goodbye. I'm glad I did. Otherwise, I wouldn't know these gentlemen. But that's how that happened. I was told that HBCU wouldn't be the worst thing, but I chose it because it was free. And in the end, it didn't work out for me. So what about you, Esquire?
Bars.
I had no affiliation with an HBCU when I was looking for colleges. I went to a all-black high school, and my thought process was, well, I could go to HBCU, but I think that the world is more than just black as I've seen it, and I kind of want to be able to experience different cultures, different backgrounds, and, because that's how the world is. So I actually ended up at UNC Greensboro, UNC school system over Greensboro, and hated it.
Hated it.
And when I was looking at trying to transfer, anybody who's from North Carolina knows A&T is like right down the street. So I used to always be having like lit parties and everything. And I was like, okay, well, I'm actually I might as well go back to an all black school. I'll do A&T. But then the world is not all black. Did some research, ended up in UNC Charlotte, and that was the best decision I ever could have made.
I never knew that A&T was on your list. Never knew that.
For like 2 months, once in that first semester at UNCG, when I decided I was going to transfer, 2 months in, I was like, I'm going to A&T. And then I was like dead set, had my paperwork and everything, was writing whatever essay I needed to write, and then took a chance meeting with friend/sister to UNC Charlotte because she was visiting a friend that we both know. Got up there, loved the campus, loved the people, loved the openness and the welcoming. And I was like, I'm not going to A&T.
Facts.
That's all, folks. Went back and did my application as soon as I got back. Excited, hype.
Go 49ers.
Did you buy a sweatshirt?
I didn't buy a sweatshirt. Damn. I bought some tequila up here, underage. Underage.
Because you could do that. Right. Naji, what about you?
So I started off at an HBCU. I went to NCCU, North Carolina Central University, as people would know.
Go
it.
Eagles.
Why I ended up going there was not I didn't go there because I wanted to go to HBCU. I genuinely didn't care. I didn't think much about college, apparently. I knew I was going, but I didn't think about you have to apply. I didn't get into. I got waitlisted for Carolina and NC State, and I was really pissed off about that because that's why I wanted to go to NC State.
I can see you at NC State, to be honest.
Me too. I was all ready to go to NC State.
You got
my
that red
jersey.
Black headset on right now too. I see it, bro.
I would have my Duke jersey on at every one of their games. Wow. But yeah. So when I didn't get in there,
acted up crazy.
It was like a couple of months past normal people's deadlines. It was like mid-July, and I hadn't gotten into school yet. And I was like, wait. And so then I was like, my friend who was at Central was like, she's like, why don't you apply to Central? And I was like, whatever, I guess. And then they were like, you can see about being in the band, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm not really tripping. But then I applied to Central. They gave me a scholarship last minute. And they were like, well, if you stay, we'll give you a full scholarship if you stay till the following year, the following semester, as long as you get a 3.0. And I was like, all right, cool. So I went to Central. Hated it. I have fun in certain settings, but for the most part, it wasn't my scene. I went to a predominantly mixed high school. I guess it was more white than anything else. And I just realized that I was used to being around like diversity. Plus I got sick and tired of the quote unquote, it's a black school, you should accept the black things. And it was just like, that's just ignorance. But I'll get into that in one of my other sections. And so I told myself I was transferring to UNC Charlotte to go into engineering. Truly told I was, my girlfriend at the time was at UNCC. So I skedaddled down 85 right into UNCC, and it was again one of the greatest decisions I've ever made.
Good.
Love it.
I'm
down
glad
here.
you enjoyed it there.
When you went to NCCU, did they sing the song for you?
Which one?
They usually sing. Well, at least they came to my high school, and they were trying to get people to come in. They were like, "NCC's you." NCC's you.
If they did, I promise I paid no attention. I went to orientation and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I was really confused.
They had a full blown acapella group, and they wore white gloves like Mickey Mouse. And they were black and white like ushers, and they were singing NCC's you.
So all of our we all said very different things about the black schools, one that we attempted or why we did not. So it prompted me to think of one. Are some black schools better than others, HBCUs? I will say I visited Howard and Hampton because those are the ones that I knew the most about. Liked Hampton a lot. I did not go to Hampton, got in, did not go in because they didn't give me enough money and college is expensive. So back then I made a conscious decision that I was not going to end up in a whole lot of debt. We'll get to that later because I still am. But that is why I initially did not go to Hampton because I was like, well, that's not enough money. I can't just be, spending, 20 plus grand out here. That's crazy.
A year.
So I did not go, but it's like, are some better than others? Have you been to other HBCUs other than the one that you attended for 4 years?
I have, only for party situations though. So I've been to, of course, A&T because it's right here in North Carolina. I have been to Howard. Shout out to Howard. I don't want to say the real HU because Hampton people might just cut my throat for saying that. But I have not experienced Hampton. I've only experienced Howard and I have been to Clark Atlanta as well. So I know Morehouse is right over there. I didn't really go to Morehouse or any of Spelman, which is still black girls school, but definitely experienced Clark Atlanta while I was out there.
Nice.
So when you're asking about better than others, do you mean like overall experience, education?
Yeah, I guess are people thinking that some are better to attend? I would say when I visited Howard and Hampton, I really liked their campus. I loved Hampton a lot. I liked Hampton better than Howard. I guess probably because Howard's close to the hood. So I went to private school with a bunch of white people. So I was like, this is not it as far as aesthetics. But I loved Hampton. Right. And then I ended up at Livingstone, and all three of them were drastically different.
Clearly.
Right.
Livingstone might have been the worst.
I went to, and of course, going to Smith for parties during school. So I saw a lot of Smith. My mother worked at Smith about 4 or 5 years. So I went over there a lot to the Carnegie Building. That's where she worked in there for a minute. So I saw a lot of Smith as it's in its newer state. It's grown a lot, but they're all so different. So it's like going to Central for you, like aesthetically, how they're set up, buildings, whatever they got going on. Livingstone was a mess.
Very much so.
It was a mess.
And no disrespect to anybody that went to Livingstone, but even me going to Johnson C. Smith, which if you've been to Johnson Smith campus, it ain't the prettiest. But even me going to Smith would go to games at Livingstone and be like, oh, y'all got it bad. I thought we had it bad, but let me count my blessings,
Not count your blessings.
Yes.
They are out here. They have been ranked Spelman, Howard, Xavier, Hampton, and Morehouse round out the top 5 with A&T coming in at number 6. I looked at several different lists for 2020, and those tend to be pretty the same across all platforms from what I can see.
Where's Fayetteville State at? Where's Fayetteville State on that?
Fayetteville State was in the top 30. I remember that.
Okay.
Because I thought about that. Central was in the top 30. John C. Smith is 29. And a lot of the North Carolina ones were in the higher.
Yeah. Winston-Salem State's like number 17 or something like that.
It was high up there too.
So there are actually a lot of HBCUs in North Carolina as an overall for the state. And what I was going to say was, I can't remember, so I'll come back to it when I do remember it.
Fair.
That's good.
Fair enough.
But since we're talking differences, I just thought that was interesting, like one being better than the others, and they all like say, the real HU, or I always told myself I went to the wrong HBCU. I've had other people tell me that also.
You did.
I remember what I was going to say now.
But that was one for my dad. I thought it was going to be easy. It's going to be free. I should have stayed my ass there for free.
I can see how those few schools that were in the top were actually ranked in the top, though, because one thing commonly with HBCUs is the funding is always a problem with HBCUs. We all know you're trying to get validated. You're trying to make sure you're good for the next year. Tends to be a problem. Even as Naji has said, the common understanding of like, oh, well, it's black things. You got to be comfortable with the black thing going on around here. It kind of can get aggravating. And that is one thing with HBCUs. A lot of them are, not saying all, but a lot of HBCUs are privately funded, which makes it a problem, or they're smaller schools who don't have as much funding. Like Johnson C. Smith, it is a private institution, so it's extremely expensive to go there, and they don't have funding from a lot of other places outside of the alumni. So again, it can be really tight with money. A lot of those schools you mentioned are state funded, which ones are in the top. So when you're state funded, you have more resources, you can provide more for your students. So it makes sense how they're in the top. Again, there are ones that people say are more prestigious, like Morehouse and Spelman and Howard, and again, but those those people have more money. Those schools have more money, so it makes sense.
Well, here's a question, because I know you did say funding is usually an issue.
Excellent segue.
That is a good segue. I went to Fayetteville State for like summertime in between for summer classes when I was transferring from UNCG to go to UNC Charlotte. I just wanted to get some classes. So when you say funding is an issue, do you think their method for getting funds from students or whatnot, or, you know, to add to their curriculum is they hold on to your financial aid check for as long as possible?
Oh God, they do.
And they hope,
Yes, they do.
And they hope you forget about it, like like your unclaimed tax money. And they're like, if they don't come get this check in like 60 days, we can cash it, put it into the fucking, you know, put it in the thing. Is that a reasoning for?
I don't know if that is. When I was at Livingstone, that was the. I heard about this refund check thing. I was like, what is this? I don't know what this is. The gentleman I was dating at the time, between his refund check every semester and his back child support check from his father, like it was always a good time.
Oh, no, I thought you said he had child support checks.
No.
I was like,
No.
Cancel the
damn,
check.
freshman year.
But that was a thing that I noticed. Like I would see, and I didn't have to deal with that because I was on a full scholarship. But I would hear about the drama of waiting for you, and I would eventually get a refund check later going to a different school. But like at that college, it was a mess. These people trying to get their money. They in line for days in financial aid trying to get their money.
It's an
What is
event.
going
Like you're
on?
literally not going to class, so you can go to the financial aid
It's like
office
the
and
Great
pick up your
Migration.
thing.
Like you try your hard, because then a lot of times you needed to get your financial aid so you can get your book voucher, so you get your books. Because how am I going to go to class if I ain't got no
Right.
books? I can't see shit.
Correct.
Then you get chastised for not having your books. But it's like I've been sitting in the financial aid line for 2 days. I've been up there twice. It's my third time going up here, and I still ain't got my money yet. Then they're like, "Oh, it'll be in you'll get it eventually, bro." When I got my financial aid money, and the refund was like, I think my refund my first semester, only semester at Central was like almost 10 grand.
Get the fuck out of
that's-
here.
I had
That's
mad
stacks, bro.
fucking scholarships.
Hold that.
I had
That's
mad
stacks,
scholarships.
Hold
But
that one.
that shit was
Oh, I
wild.
ain't
That's a
never.
lot of money, bro.
I used to be ready to quit a job for a $1,500 one.
And I ain't had no loan. I had no
Give me a
loan.
$1,500 refund check. I used to be like, I ain't coming to work.
And while that is funny,
That's back in the day, though. That's
Back in the day, though.
That
Things
is true.
was a
This
little
is
bit
a young
cheaper.
professional.
we have been out
now.
for a long time.
Things was a little cheaper.
But with funding, no, the funding more so because they get a lot of money from grants. Like I said, when my mother was working at Smith, she was working off of a grant. She no longer works there because the grant didn't get re-signed. So that's why she didn't have her job there anymore. But in one of the articles I was reading from USA Today, they were discussing the fact that of all 105 HBCUs that are in America, listed, registered, accredited, only if you give 10% of their funding, it was 10% of Harvard's money. So Harvard has a $30 billion endowment that they get from whether it's government funding, whether it's private funding, alumni, whoever the fuck else wants to give to them. All that money from those HBCUs is only 10% of what Harvard gets. And that's from 105 different campuses,
That's
including
crazy.
the good ones at Spelman, Morehouse.
Speaking of
Howard.
Harvard, because it is Black History Month, if you did not know, Howard University's debate team recently beat Harvard for the
They
second
did.
time.
Second year in a row. I saw that.
So shouts out to Howard University.
We'll be doing Black History Facts all episode.
They may not have had any money for cafeteria food. And the bus, they kind of had to charter something.
They didn't have
with
T-shirts.
Greyhound.
But they know how to argue, okay? They was
But-
raised by
They
black
made it-
mamas. They know how to cuss you out, all
But
right?
that funding was
They
real.
are the great debaters.
It makes you.
And
It made me
survivors.
wonder though, with all that stuff, like what the lack of or the presence of that kind of funding can do for your experience. Because I know for me, it bothered me. I came from a private school, so I was like, I was used to having certain things. So for me, it was like a phase where I had to get through that. And then once I got back, back to Charlotte, I felt more comfortable, whatever. But like that annoyed me that I didn't have the things that I felt like I should have. And I stayed in a nice dorm. I stayed in a new dorm. It was an honors dorm.
I didn't.
But it was still like, whatever. The dude I was dating stayed in a terrible dorm.
It was trash.
Yes, I think I was telling you about this. When I would go see his ass, it would be like there's mattresses up on the walls, like niggas is running around in they slides and they basketball size stuff is like falling off the walls. I'm like, why is this dorm so much different?
Asbestos.
Yes.
So when I went to Central, I was on scholarship, like I said. So I was supposed to be living in the scholarship apartments across campus. But for whatever reason, Mama Naji decided that when she filled out my housing stuff, she put that I wanted to live in what people know as Chidley Hall. So if you don't know anything about Chidley Hall is the all-male freshman dorm.
That's what your mom said you wanted to stay at?
Yep. I told her, I said, "Mom, that's the last place I want to stay in," and she made it my first option. I was like, maybe she's trying to show me something. Mama Naji, she tried me real hard with that one, and I was like, so they were like, "Oh, he don't want to stay in the suites or the apartments? Bet, easy." So they put my black ass over there in Chili Hall, which is on one of the furthest corners of Central, which is right across the street from. This story has a point, I promise. Okay. It's about funding. I'm getting to it. It's just the worst part of campus. You're right across the street from some of the like crazy shit that happens in Durham.
You should never go there, Simba.
It is legitimately the elephant graveyard. Like for real, for real. They had half of the building blocked off because it had like asbestos or something. Like legitimately. So they were talking about we were going to remodel it, but they hadn't remodeled it. So we were on one half. Niggas was running crazy like chimps in a zoo, throwing shit, like legitimately throwing shit. It was the wildest shit ever. But that building also did not have air conditioning and the heat didn't work.
Oh, shit.
So during the summertime, you are roasting. Okay. And during the wintertime, you are freezing.
Wow.
And we were like, are you serious? Like, nothing? And they were like, that's you can buy an air conditioning unit. And
so
my
so
roommate,
we're hanging out the window like you like you somewhere.
Yep.
I'm going to the laundry, man.
Exactly. So my roommate at the time, he bought an air conditioning unit, and so we had one in our room. So niggas would literally be in there piled up.
So it's hot again.
Hot as fuck.
So it's hot again, right?
It was crazy. But like you don't even have the money so that even the worst dorm at UNC Charlotte doesn't it pales in comparison to the worst dorm there. And it's just crazy to see that. Because I'm assuming that the funding has something to do with how your buildings are kept up.
Yeah, definitely.
Or maybe the allocation of the funding. Because maybe you put it towards something different. Because they had some brand new buildings that they just built when I got there. But yet we're sitting in a dorm with no heat and no air.
That's wild. And I don't want people out in the world to think that we're like going to trash HBCUs. That's definitely not a thing.
No. I got some good stuff to say
like
later.
you said, the worst place at Charlotte was nothing compared to that. Remember Smurf Village was a fucking mess.
It was, but it was popping though.
So we had some pretty interesting places that people would live at our campus. So it was not that it was just HBCU thing. There were some parts of my experience when I stayed on campus that 1 year. I was like, well, this is not much better, but it's better, and I'll take it. There was the water work, there was heat and air conditioning. There were elevators in some of those rooms, and some of them were even better. That one joint.
Oh, y'all had elevators?
Some of them.
Oh, y'all was fancy.
Careful. Some of them.
Yeah, mine's had the elevator.
Yep, Squires had elevators. All them joints.
The one I stayed over there. What did I stay? Maple. They didn't have elevators. I stayed over there in the wood. It's interesting.
Well, my funding portion, again, I didn't stay on campus at Fayetteville State. I was just, attending summer school there. But coming from UNCG, it was like, okay, when you apply, you can apply all online. If you need to make any changes for any transcripts or paying for anything, you can do it all online or whatever. And so when I was trying to transfer my stuff over to Fayetteville State, it was like a lot of mail it in. You can't fax it over because it's something going on with our fax machine. Can I scan it over? You can't scan it over or anything. Like can you get it into us by hand? It was just like, who can I call and talk to about the status of this?
Tablets.
Only one person is in charge of that, and they got access to the computer. They got the password. They had a tell this week. Like, it was a lot of a hassle to try to sign up for 2 classes in the summertime. Man. And then for me to transfer my transcripts out to UNC Charlotte, because when I was taking classes, it was like, we only do that on Thursdays. Between the hours of 9 and 9:30. And I was like,
and you knew better to come over here outside those hours.
I was like,
that's how it was at my school.
I was like, what is happening? Like, I just want you to get my transcript to me. Okay, first you got to send it a written request. We got to get it to the dean. Then on Thursday, when he looks at it, mind you, it's like Friday already that day. Thursday, when he looks at it, he's gonna let you know. It was like a lot of stuff missing. We needed more funding at that school.
No, I could definitely agree with you. I would say Johnson Smith could have definitely used more funding, but in regards, maybe I was just too used to the Smith culture, man, because that was the only experience I had. So, in regards of the funding, everything you guys were saying, I kind of enjoyed or felt like I needed that almost. So for me, getting validated, that's how you would make sure you have all your money for next school year, right? Mm-hmm. Most schools do that like the school year before. If you're a freshman, you do it, so you make sure you're good for sophomore year. You come, everything is good. We do the same thing. But with our school, nobody ever had money for the next school year. So it'd be like, if my graduating class is like 400 of us, it's like 5 of us are validated before school started. So that whole first week of school, whatever year you're in, that whole first week of school, you lined up in the gym. Like, yeah, it'd be like the club line for hours. You know what I'm saying? You lined up in the gym trying to get validated to make sure you got the money for classes this year. But because I went to an HBCU, which was maybe, again, with low income and a lot of corners that could be cut, because just how Naji said a little earlier, the whole, like, get used to this black thing, they did a lot of, like, this is the black thing. So I use that to my advantage. I know I can go in the front of this line when it's time to get validated, talk to these ladies from financial aid, and tell her my little sob story. Maybe drop a tear or two. And she was going to find $1 or $2 for this baby over here because he needed to go to college. I get this black man off the street, make sure we get another black man in here getting an education. That's how they used to feel. So I always got validated. And the ladies in financial aid always made sure I did. I wasn't always good before it started, but I left out there validated every year. And I went to school for 5 years because I had too much fun. It wasn't because of my major.
He was validated every year, though. He was validated
every year. And it wasn't like that the year before. That's what I'm saying. Like, each year I went to school like, damn. Every year. Facts. Every year I went to school like, damn, am I about to get validated? You know, but they always made sure you did because they cared.
You validated for life.
You know, and now I'm validated for life. Now I'm running Jet Endeavor Co. You know, come on, check us out when our new website come up.
That shit's terrible.
He not talking about Jet Endeavor Co, y'all. He talking about the process.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the co. I'm talking about the fucking black school.
In addition to funding, something else that I found interesting during my research was the awareness amongst other races about either or. So we as black people are very aware of all the PWIs that we should be encouraged to go to. Like, you wanted to go to NC State. I wanted to go to Chapel Hill, cried for weeks when I didn't get in. So like we hear about all those and we want to put ourselves in those scenarios. But if you were to go to a PWI and see other white people and ask them about HBCUs, they're like, what do you mean? So that it's the knowledge or awareness is not the same. So we're encouraged, to attend all these other places, but then all these other, and not that white people should be encouraged to go, but like as a people, we're encouraged to do other things. We're encouraged to know more about these other colleges versus the ones that are designed for us. And I found that interesting because, like, even with like A&T for me, I wanted to go to A&T because I had a couple cousins that went. My dad ripped up my acceptance letter at A&T. He didn't want me to go there. I was like, but daddy, ass and titties.
But
Faja.
So it's like, I found that to be very, very interesting. I was talking to a friend of mine about the whole HBCU thing. She's like, oh, okay. It's like the knowledge or awareness isn't there. Like, that's not a thing for them, but it is for us. Like, we make that distinction, but they don't make it because they don't have to.
So I think it's interesting how you make. That's kind of how I felt when I came to UNC Charlotte and found out there were 9 NPHC fraternities and sororities. Like, I had no idea that was there, and I genuinely was confused when I saw this pink and green Delta Zeta, and I was like, what is a Delta? Is that their chapter name? And they were like, no, that's the sorority. And I was like, no, but because that's how a lot of people are when it comes to HBCUs. Like, they just if they don't have someone in their family or something like that, or somebody close to them that was a part of that. I was one of them. My mom went to Winston-Salem State, but aside from Winston-Salem State, I didn't really know much. And A&T, because it was down the street, I didn't know much about HBCUs at all. So it was So someone asked me, why don't you want to go to HBCU? And I was like, why is it that I should go to H? Like, I genuinely didn't understand why someone was asking me that question. I thought it was trying to be funny, like saying like, oh, you can't get into a regular school. That's how I took it. But then when I realized he went to an HBCU, and so it was more of like I had the experience there. Like, is there a reason why you didn't even consider them? And I was like, oh. Now that I'm older, I'm like, damn, I never even thought about it like that.
The articles I was reading, that's how they made it seem. It's like it's an afterthought for a lot of people versus an initial like, hey, won't you try this out because of whatever. And that's why my dad suggested Livingstone. He was like, I went, I had a good time there. He maybe Livingstone during the 70s, maybe it was a different experience. I have no idea.
Yeah. Drugs.
But he encouraged me to go because that's the experience that he had. But like,
Damn right.
Outside of that, he didn't encourage me to do any of the others. I asked him to take me to Howard and Hampton. Other than that, he didn't say anything about any black schools. I wanted to check him out, so he took me to go see him. And
so he was in favor of HBCUs. He just was in favor of some of them,
particular
like
the one that was free,
right?
He was in favor of.
Oh, okay.
The others, not so much.
Why didn't he want you to do
he was
A&T?
alum.
What was
there was no funding.
I had some
no funding.
people that we knew hadn't made it out of there. and he was afraid that I would go from my all white environment into A&T and not make it out.
That culture shock could be a bitch.
Oh,
It was a culture shock regardless. I found I would never, and I want to say this, I will not take anything back choosing Livingstone. I learned a lot. It kept me closer to my homeboy. Shout out Bidgie Bangarang. We reconnected for that during that time. And I met a lot of, learned a lot, met a lot of really cool people. So I won't take anything back with it. But, it is what it is.
I agree. I wouldn't take anything away from my time at Central. Look, it taught me a lot. We're going to get into some other parts about the education.
Yeah, I'm trying to hold on to mine. As I said,
Yes.
but I loved my college experience. Shout out to Johnson C. Smith University, the Johnson C. Smith University, the prestigious Johnson C. Smith
What
University.
did Mama Boost, what was her encouragement for you with college?
To be completely, well, first off, shout out to Mama Boost, who is my number one supporter in everything that I do. So I love her. Let's all put that out there. But I also got to tell some truthful shit. But my mom ain't gonna listen to this anyway, so I ain't gotta worry about it. But I was actually not gonna go to college, and my mom has not went to college as well herself. Growing up where I'm from, I don't want to say college is not super promoted, but it is very inner city. Going to get a job right after high school is a very popular thing. So that's actually what I did. I didn't go straight to college. So I was holding on to this for a little later on. It was going to come up a little bit. But I didn't go straight to college. I actually graduated high school and I got a job. I went and worked regular life. But I knew that wasn't for me. Even though that's what was kind of going on around me. That was a real, common thing. But I was like, nah, bro. This is not it. This is not
so
it.
much more.
So yeah, there's so much more for me in life, and this ain't it. So that's when I really started applying to schools a little harder. I did apply to schools before, and I got in some schools when I was first graduating, but I just didn't go. Different reasons. Tell a story later. But when I did get accepted to Johnson C. Smith, I got accepted to Johnson C. Smith, A&T, Albany State in Georgia, and Bethune-Cookman in Florida. That was my year after I had graduated high school. I accepted all those. But the other schools had contingents with them, come to the summer program and this and the third. They wanted me to do extra shit because I didn't have the best grades in high school, but I still got accepted. And Johnson Smith was the only one that didn't have nothing extra to it. So Mama Boost was like, that's where you want to go? This the one right here? What's the 4 schools? Oh yeah, that's the one. We're going to go there. I'll drive you there. So yeah, when I was applying to go to college that second time around, she was absolutely all for it. First time around, she really didn't kind of care. Because like I said, most of the guys in that area, though, that wasn't really what we promoted. College came from real inner city, urban community. Even though it's in Connecticut, a lot of people don't know that about Connecticut. New Haven, Connecticut is very urban. Very, very much so. Aside from Yale, everything is not all that bouginess you think it is. So I was from inner city, and it was kind of okay, so you're going to apply to work at Yale? Because that's the number one thing that guys do where I'm from. You go to work at Yale. Literally, that's the number one job that a lot of people in New Haven, Connecticut do. You go to work for the hospital, Yale New Haven Hospital, or Yale University. You work in the kitchen, you do things like that.
So you don't go to the school, you go to work at the school.
You go to work at the school, and that's a really popular thing. And I always knew that I didn't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? I knew I wanted more for myself. So
now that I think about it, that's actually so. So Winston-Salem has Wake Forest, which is another private prestigious school or whatever. At least I guess it was. I don't know if it still is considered prestigious. But a lot of people that I know, whenever they would graduate from high school, they would go work at Baptist Hospital, which is the hospital attached to Wake Forest. And I didn't even think about it like that. They would go work there versus going to Wake. But damn.
Yeah.
They probably had to do that because it cost too much to attend.
It does.
The major difference, obviously, between not major all the time, but major in a lot of ways, is cost between HBCUs and PWIs.
Except for Smith.
Smith is extremely expensive.
Oh, they
don't
high.
let nobody lie to you.
That's my point.
Oh, okay.
Most HBCUs don't cost as much as Smith does.
I thought you were gonna say that most PWIs don't cost as much as HBCUs.
Oh no.
No.
So the private ones do. They have some high price tags, but HBCUs have a high price tag, and it is insane the amount of debt that those students incur. And because the funding, because they don't have enough money to give out scholarships in the same way that PWIs do. So the debt is high. You got to pay it because you didn't get a scholarship, even though you probably were deserving of one. So that's an interesting thing, and that that kills me. The kind of debt that these kids have coming out of there. They're standing in those lines waiting for them checks. That $10,000 refund check that you got. They probably shouldn't have given you that shit, and that's grimy too. So we can talk about costs and the money and all the bullshit.
That
Here
shit
we
was
are.
great. Central wasn't as expensive. Central was like one of the
That shit was
It was
great.
a state school.
That shit was
yeah,
great.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because even Central's law school is the cheapest, like one of the cheapest law schools there is, and it's still like highly ranked according to like other law schools.
Right.
But it's just like a. So I didn't have the experience where it cost a lot of money for me to go to school. I think it was if I would have stayed at Central the entire time, I may have been like 12 grand or something like that when it was all said and done. But I was like including room and board. It wasn't that expensive.
A year, 12 grand a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Charlotte was cheap
Yeah, UNC Charlotte was like 13 a year when I came over here. So it was not. It
at
was
the time.
Yeah, it's very different now.
Damn.
But so when I got my refund check, like I was saying, I had like 3 grants. I had like 4 or 5 different scholarships, and then I had a big scholarship from the school. So I didn't have any loans when I was at Central, but I got all those grants and everything. I don't know how I was able to keep all of them because I know they came from different places. And they just handed me the cash. Like, you don't owe anything, so here's the damn near 10 racks we owe you. Blew that shit.
Damn.
Right.
Ooh.
I think my freshman year of Smith was like $20,000, and that was just freshman year. It went up every year after that, so it never stayed the same. Every single year it got more expensive. But I think when I first started, it was like $20K. Yeah,
I think it's crazy to me that we want our youth to be great, whatever that means. It doesn't necessarily have to mean college for one, because it's not for everybody. But we encourage it so much. But then we get them there, and they have a $20,000 price tag, or they have whatever it is. I was watching an episode of Grownish the other night, and one of the young men, what's his name, Trevor Jackson, that he's a singer and he's acting on that show. He's a senior in the current season, and he's talking to the financial aid guy. He's like, okay, here, this is your promissory note if you want to go ahead and sign this off for the rest of the year. And they spent some of the episode touching on that issue. He sees this $100,000 price tag that he's about to sign. He was like, whoa, what is this? He said, I thought because I was RA and I did the thing and I had the study and the what. He was like, yeah. But this is you've been here this whole time and all this other stuff. And he kind of like glazed over what he was paying for. And he was just sitting there like, dang, like, what am I going to do about this? And then he asked a friend of his if his friend had that kind of debt. And he was like, no. And I was like, that's crazy, because in that show, he's super smart and he's super active and he's doing all these things. But he's leaving there with a $100,000 debt that he has. How do you pay that? That's somebody's salary.
Was his friend black?
His friend he's like Eastern European in the show. He's also a drug dealer, so that's context.
Oh, that's why he paid his off. Never mind. He had the same tab. He just paid his bill.
It's crazy to me, the debt that we have for our kids coming out of these places, and they're not getting the scholarships. When I was applying to Howard and Hampton, I didn't get nearly as much scholarship money as I thought I would. Like, I was a damn near 4.0 student, National Honor Society. I'm playing sports. I'm doing all these things, and I didn't get as much money as I thought I would because I was not the shining star at an HBCU. There are plenty of me's that are going to HBCUs, so they're not throwing away the money like that unless you are absolutely stellar. Shout out to 2 of my cousins. They both one got a scholarship to Morehouse. One is at Spelman. They're doing that currently this year. And I'm like, how did y'all even get that? Like, that is a blessing. And they looking at it like, yeah, okay, I guess. I'm like, you guessed, you bitch. That shit is high as fuck. Like, good for you, because they're high to go, and that's insane that you were able to get that kind of money.
Especially at Morehouse and Spelman,
Yes.
because everybody that goes there has great grades. You know, you all
Yes.
were like
you
number
have
1
to
or 2
be
in your high school
real
class.
pick of the litter.
Yeah.
But you go to a PWI and, like Naji was saying, have all these grant options and all this stuff because they have the money to give you.
Oh no, that was at Central. I didn't get shit when I came to Charlotte.
It's still a state school though, so in a
okay.
state-funded situation,
I
there's
didn't get
more
that
money
PWI.
to go around.
Yeah.
Did you have what your scholarship funding kind of thing for you?
Yes, when I went to UNCG my very first year, I was surprised with the amount of scholarships and grants that I was getting.
They were trying to get niggas
just
in the
going
door.
there. And they had me. And then when I went to, again, this is a very small moment, when I went to Fayetteville State for that summertime, and I was like, trying to figure out scholarships. They was like, oh, baby, you need to apply like 2 years ago. Like, I didn't even know if I was going to school. Or, I didn't know if the deadline for that was like in 2001. I wasn't even in high school. No, I'm playing. And then to go to UNC Charlotte and then get a whole bunch of grants and funding on that regards, I was like, shit, okay.
It's real interesting. Quick pause. Shout out to things having a way of working out, I also was going to UNCG prior to going to Livingstone. Esquire and we might have met each other regardless.
You went to UNCG?
I was going to go.
Oh, you was going.
I was going to go to UNCG, and my dad suggested the whole Livingstone thing, and because it was free, I went there instead. But I went to SOAR at UNCG.
I was at Charlotte. I didn't know UNCG had SOAR too.
Yeah, they had a SOAR
It's a
program.
UNC system thing. So yes.
Really? I never knew that.
That's what SOAR was. It was really good. But I wish you had went there. I was a very angry young man when I was going to that damn school.
It was some color contacts. What it was.
Maybe y'all
It might have been a
wouldn't
color
have been
contacts, but I hated that school.
Well, it just goes to show, like we said, things are a way of working out. We still managed to find each other either way.
This is years ago, Goose. This is years and years ago.
What?
He was asking who had color contacts, and I was like, that was a long time ago.
What color?
I had two pair. I had a very, very light brown. Shout out to you, Brian.
Hazel. We had a hazel.
I don't know if it was hazel, but it was light brown, and I had some gray ones.
I knew he was gonna say the gray.
I had some
Gray.
gray.
Everybody that was black that had color contacts had the gray joints.
I wanted some bad. My mother was
will
like,
say-
no.
I'm glad, and I'm glad I didn't know you when you were doing this.
Doing the color contacts. Wild out, trying to take serious pictures. Looking to the camera. With that flash, with that light.
Looking like the black vampire on Vampire Diaries.
I used to have them, and I would go different places, and they'd be like, "Oh, baby, your eyes are so beautiful." I'd be like, "Thank you." My mom was raped by an Indian.
Oh God!
Not raped.
And I was like, I probably should
locked in
stop
the
saying
freezer?
that. Well, not locked in the freezer, watching Roots. But I was like, I was giving her like a traumatic pass for why my eyes were like the color that they were. I stopped doing it though.
So fun fact.
We thank God for
Completely
growth.
off topic.
Don't do it. Save it for the outtakes.
I will.
Don't do it.
For the blooper reel.
The interesting thing, though, that I found out in my search, because like I said, we are not here to trash HBCUs in any way, because we all had our experiences wherever we went.
Yes.
There was a poll taken by the Gallup and Purdue University in 2018, and they found that while the HBCUs do have these issues that we have brought up, the students graduating from these universities feel more supported, and they tend to be more adjusted than black students attending PWIs. And I
Oh
was
God, yes.
that is so interesting. They did this measurement, just so I can put this out there before we dive into it, was they measured well-being as social, financial, purpose, and a sense of community and physical elements are the things that they measured. And this was over 50,000 students from both types of colleges over the course of 2 years. And this article was very, very interesting to me. I was like, well, this is pretty cool. And it seemed in all the cases that these kids didn't seem to mind that all these things were happening. Like you said, getting used to the black thing. And like from Boose's point of view, like, I mean, I liked the shit. It was cool. It was good for me.
Honestly, I did. I had a great time. And to actually touch a little bit on Naji's point when you had mentioned, excuse me.
Get it out.
Get it out, bro.
Get it out.
Somebody else talking.
So my time at Central, one of the things I will say was I was very taken aback by the amount of quote unquote blackness that I was being exposed to. What people were telling me was just what it meant to be black socially. But when it came to the education side of things, like all of my teachers gave a fuck about me. And it was even more so than when I was in high school. Like I knew all my teachers in high school because, you hang around, you go to their class or whatever, you got lunch. But in college, it's different. You go to class, the next people are in there right afterwards. It's kind of a bigger system. But all of my teachers, they would check on me. They would see how I was doing. Like if they didn't see me in a couple of days, they pull me to the side like, hey, yo, bro, like what's going on? Like, you okay? Like, how are you adjusting? Like they asked me like how I'm feeling and shit. Like we would talk about all kinds of stuff. See him on the yard, we shooting the shit like, we know each other. I had one of my English teacher, I never forget it. She was like the quintessential Delta. If you close your eyes
Yes.
and the first Delta you see, it's probably her.
Oh, yeah,
So
yes.
we would go and she would be like hopping down the hall just by herself, nobody on the hall, just having a good old Delta time. That's what she used to call it. I was like, all right, yo. But I didn't go to class for a week. For 2 weeks. I was in Charlotte at my girlfriend at the time's house, hanging out down here, going to class with her like an idiot. I get back. Oh,
Going to her class.
I was a wild boy. Oh,
You
man,
wild,
I was
bro.
a wild boy back in 05. But so I got back to school and I walked into the class like nothing happened. Like didn't say nothing. And so she's in there, she's teaching the class and she's talking about work. So I'm not saying shit because I ain't did no homework. Nothing. So she was like, can you hold on for a second or whatever? And I was like, okay, bet. So after class, I waited. Everybody left. And so she kind of walked out like she was talking to somebody else. So I wanted to walk out. And she turned around and punched me square in the chest. What? And she was like, nigga, don't you ever disappear for all these weeks and not let somebody know you okay. I was like, damn.
What?
Like square in the chest. Like I was like, what happened? She was like, why are you even here? And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, why the fuck are you in school if you just gonna skip class? She's like, you at your girlfriend's house again? I was
this
like,
was your HBCU?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's my English teacher. And she literally, she checked me like how I would imagine my mother or aunt would if like, or my aunt or like, you know, a older cousin or somebody would if they saw me out here doing some dumb shit.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'm not doing this because I'm not angry because you didn't come to class. I'm angry because you throwing away an opportunity that you just don't know that you have. And so I was kind of like, yo, why you tripping? Like so she literally sat in every single class. She would make sure if I wasn't there, I was hearing from her. I was getting an email or something. And when I came back, I didn't miss many classes after that because she punched me square in the chest. And I was like, damn, but the punch felt like somebody cared about me. It didn't feel like she was trying to assault me, but because she knew that she could do that to me. I wasn't gonna hit her in the chest. That'd be a different problem. But just the fact that her and all these other teachers that I had genuinely gave a fuck about what was going on with me. But when I came to UNCC, I was literally a number the entire time.
And that's what I was gonna say before I almost had a attack over here.
It's okay, happened to me the other week.
Back to Naji's point when you talked about a little earlier how you said you went to a HBCU and it was just a cultural difference than what you were familiar with because your high school you was more, you know, diverse, a little more mixed, you know. My high school was very diverse. Don't get me wrong, a lot of I would say the black people were more who would let it, like the popular people whatnot were black, you know, basketball players, stuff like that. But very diverse as in high school. But the city I was from was very, very, very urban. Like or again, even there were like white people that lived there. It's New Haven, you know Connecticut to be super, super bougie. They say, or very,
affluent.
But New Haven was very, very urban, and that's what I was familiar with. I didn't live in the bougie area. You know what I mean? I was very familiar with urban lifestyle. So for me, I would say it was a cultural difference when I got to HBCU, but it wasn't because of like, oh, I'm so used to the white aspect. It was honestly because I was kind of so used to seeing black people in a different light. I came from the hood. Everybody that I was familiar with was hood. I hadn't really known many people like me. I thought that I was an anomaly in a way. I thought I was different. You know what I mean? Like, which is why I wanted to get away so bad. It was kind of like bro, like you're not like everybody you're surrounded around. And I got to college and I actually saw a lot of black people in powerful positions. Because I went to HBCU. So I saw them in powerful positions. I saw professors that had college degrees or masters or with doctorates in that genuinely cared about me. You know what I mean? Just saying what you were just saying. Like I had them same type of conversations from professors that hold a doctorates and literally you're like, what do you have going on? Like, why are you missing class? Talk to you like your mother. You know what I'm saying? But I needed that. And that's what I would say, like, I appreciated about the HBCU experience because I wasn't just a number, especially because I went to a small HBCU.
Yeah.
All my professors knew your name. It wasn't a number in class. They know who you are. They know when you're not there. You know what I mean? Like, you're cool with them. You almost have a relationship. I can go and cry to you. I can go and laugh with you. I can do all of that. And you had that relationship with people, but they're still just as smart as the next person at any other school. You know what I mean? So if I need to talk to you about some real stuff, I was still able to do that. You got a professor, you got a mentor, you got a sister or uncle, or you got all of that in one. So I really did appreciate it because, again, it was something totally different than what I was used to. I saw African Americans in a different light. Literally, I saw them thriving, and I wasn't really familiar with that. It wasn't like I didn't know any thriving African Americans from where I was from. I knew a few, but you saw so many at HBCU. You know what I mean? Like so many. Some people I went to class with were just, like people I went to school with, you were number one in your high school graduating class. That wasn't me. So it was just different to see you came here and you were number one where you graduated from, though. You know what I mean? Like,
so you felt really supported and you felt like you adjusted very well to that.
Absolutely.
To that
I actually learned when I was at Central, I met my first ever bougie black math professor. And I was kind of like, wait, it was a black guy, Dr. Johnson. But he was like real, it was my calculus class or whatever. And I told him, I said, I took this in high school already, but y'all making me take it again. And so he was like, you didn't post out all those little different things or whatever. But Dr. Johnson was like real like bougie is how he talked. But then whenever you would talk to him, like when he would like take a step down from that teacher mantle, I was like, oh, you with the shits. Like he just like, all right, listen, because he would talk like calculus and all of these different things, and
X and
he
Y,
would
the
be
axis.
the axis and things like that, and he would call me by my whole name, and I was like, okay,
he was the Kyle Barker.
he was
math.
the Kyle Barker of the math department.
Oh,
but when
man.
I tell you that nigga knew his shit, and so when we would start talking sideways, he'd be like, we would have like these little breakdown moments where we would sit in class and kind of talk about different little groups or whatever. And he would come by, he'd be like, all right, listen, like, fuck, like, and break it down to like, talk to you like a regular person. And that was one of the first times I ever experienced both in one person. Because you typically got someone who was either very, very, quote unquote bougie, or you got somebody who was like real connected to you. Like it was one or the other. I never got both. But when I met him, and he was doing all that, I was like, "Oh, you can
Dr.
you can do
Johnson.
all of that, and it's okay to be good in math, and it's okay to speak well and articulate. Then it's also okay to be able to break it down to niggas like regular shit, like you understand what the fuck I'm talking about."
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how much that meant to me until I left.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that a lot. I had an anecdote.
I think his name was Dr. Johnson.
I do hope his name was Dr.
I
Johnson.
definitely hope it is, but
Well, no, that feeling of support. The what do you call the people who are in the dorm? Like not the RA, whoever like is over all of the RAs.
The RC, the resident
Residence
coordinators,
Yeah, that, like,
resident
that
directors,
person.
whatever.
She, I don't know. She knew my dad. I believe she went to college with my dad also. And I had never been away from home ever. So, and because I was in a place where it was very unlike where I came from. I did have moments where I was like, I don't know if this like that. That's one of the reasons I left. Like I didn't feel entirely comfortable. I had a good time, but I never felt entirely comfortable where I was. And she would check on me. She'd be like, "Hey, are you good? You know, like I noticed that." He's like, "This ain't where you came from. This ain't that little white school you came from. This ain't your little suburb. How you doing? You know, what's going on?" I'm like, I mean, you know, it is what it is. And she helped me. She introduced me to some people that I thought I wanted to know and hang out with, but I had been like really literally afraid to talk to them. I didn't think that they would like me because I spoke well, and I was very different from all of them. I felt outside when I was there, but she helped me to kind of integrate myself into those scenarios so I feel more comfortable. And I'm at a point now where I'm uncomfortable if I'm not around my people. Like, and Livingstone gave me that because had I not gone there, I would have still been kind of not skittish, but hanging out with us wouldn't have been my first choice had it not been for that experience. Even when I went to Charlotte, I still stuck with us. I had one white friend in Charlotte. So, you know.
That was a very different racial divide at UNCC around the time we got there. It was like the division was thick.
I was afraid of UNCC. If you'd like to be 100% honest,
That's how I felt about Johnson C. Smith.
I can understand why you were afraid of us, but
No, not y'all, just the area.
yeah, that's the West Side. West Side Charlotte. Shout out to the West Side. West Side. But I used to be afraid of UNCC though, because honestly, like the way that it was painted, I think because again I came while I was at Johnson C. Smith, it was that whole like so immersed in this whole like African American community, you know what I mean? So to go over there and know that like you're gonna be judged for being black, and then there was always this whole kind of like, I guess you would say, rumor of that you guys only hung out in the student union. Like if you want to know the black people, go hang out in the student union. Like
We didn't have a student union for years.
that's what they used to say. Like this thing wherever you serve, well, you probably call it something different, but wherever like where's like your fast food stuff at?
The Cone Center?
Cone Center.
We call that a student union. Yeah, we call that a union. Well, whatever or you serve on your fast
we
food.
didn't get an official student union until
After we
me
all
and Naji
graduated.
was getting up out of there.
Well,
I was still there.
I'm a slight bit younger than y'all.
I was there for
I'm
forever.
a slight bit younger than y'all, so maybe
Well,
that
but
was the thing.
Either way, that we had a place like that where we would
Yeah.
all hang out.
But that's what I was told. Like it was kind of like, this is where the black kids hang out. So I think again, I was coming from a whole thing of like my school is you hang out anywhere because we're all black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was just different. And it's like, well, if you want to have a good time, only go here. If you don't go there, then it just made me feel like, so if I branch off, am I gonna get like beat up or jumped or
God,
you know,
no.
it was just it just always was that concern of it all though. You know
There
what I
weren't
mean?
many
So
fights that happened on
that's
campus.
the one thing I would say, not negatively speaking on HBCUs, because it's not like in classes they were saying these things, but I think that me being around everybody that I was around in the HBCU, when I would step outside of that, I did get a little concerned, like not going to a job, but like going to like your school, you know what I mean? Like going to UNCC, I was a little concerned. I would always think that like, oh, I'm being judged or white people looking at me or, you know, because I didn't have to deal with that on an everyday basis. Everybody I was around was black. There was like one or two white people that went here. And it was on full ride, so they was happy.
It was. It's. I felt very much. So I went to Johnson C. Smith one time. There was a step show that was there. I think we went with. I can't remember if you went with me because I went with one of our homeboys, and we all went out there to JCSU to go to the step show. And when I got there, everyone knew that I didn't go to school there. I didn't have on no paraphernalia from nowhere else. I was like a regular nigga walking up in that gym. But it's like everybody knew. It's like, oh yeah, he's not from here. And we had our little section and we were sitting over there, and then you could kind of see like people were just like looking like, why are y'all here? And it's like, well, we know them.
Right. Well, I'm kind of with him, but
I live in the city too. Yeah. But it was almost like we were on the other side of the tracks.
Well, they knew you didn't go there because there's all of 5 people that go to Johnson C. Smith. It is that big, so that's the reason why. As soon as you walked in, it was like, oh, I don't know this nigga.
Yeah, I'm a plus size nigga too, so they probably were like, who is this big and tall nigga walking through this campus?
Boost, would you say like the 50% of students in this poll that whatever I don't know your situation with financial aid and whatnot with Smith, but would you say that if there is debt that you incur, would you say that it's worth it?
That's a no.
50%. I want to point out 50% of the students polled in this thing said that it was worth it. It was worth it for them.
I was gonna say I think that they would say it was worth it. I am in extreme debt, and I won't even tell you how much debt. All I will say is Johnson C. Smith when I first started was $20,000 a year, and it went up every year. I will say that. I went for 5 years, but I would say that it was worth it, but the reason why I would say it was worth it, I think the experience of everything that I learned. Just as Naji actually talked about it a little bit, but being able to, like how he said his professor was at his HBCU, and being able to kind of talk in many different like settings or be able to like join in different groups. I can speak one way and join in this setting and be able to talk to you, but I can also talk to my niggas over here and still blend in this crowd. And it's not me being fake; it's me genuinely knowing how to adapt to everything. I think that I kind of did learn that at HBCU. You know what I mean? Like before coming to HBCU, I was always a professional guy, always, but that was more of what I was stuck in. Like I said, where I came from, I knew the hood because I lived in the hood, but I was always this like, I'm above you guys.
You were in the hood, but not of the hood.
Yeah, always like my brothers are extremely hood. I was the one that's kind of like, I'm gonna go in the house and do my homework. You know what I mean? While my brothers was outside like fighting and stuff. So that had always been me. But coming to HBCU, it let me know like, no, you can go outside and fight a little bit too.
It's okay.
You can go outside.
You can go outside and fight a little bit
too.
Please go out there and fight.
Just hit on with your book.
But yeah, so I would say that I gather that. So yeah, I would say it was worth it. I enjoyed my experience, especially at Johnson C. Smith University.
That's what's up. That's really good to know. I don't have I think that was that you? I think Monday we were talking about this. I don't have any type of special connection to UNC Charlotte outside of the people that it gave me. The school itself, like I went to college to go to college. Like I wanted to graduate, get a degree, get a job. I was on the track that I was told to be on. This is just the easiest way for me to do it. So the debt aside, I have a going to school to get a master's or whatever. So all of that, I don't have any connection to either place, but UNC Charlotte or where I got my master's here at Queens. I have zero connection to it. And I think that when I see these people who love their schools so much, particularly HBCUs, that connection, while Boots has found his connection with his HBCU for all these really, really awesome reasons, like I'm sitting there thinking that's really, really amazing. I literally just went to school to get a degree, and I have one, and that's what's up. But I find my meaning elsewhere. I am in debt for whatever reason, but like, I've got my education. I have a good job. That is what it is. But I don't have those connections. When I see y'all talk about your HBCUs and how you come away from it and all that, I'm like, this is really exciting. Like, it would have been nice for me to be able to connect in that way with my professors or with other people. Again, my stuff from Charlotte is the people that I met there. My best friend met her, introduced me to this gentleman here who introduced me to this guy. So that's what Charlotte is for me. But it's not any of that other stuff. It was a place that I went and I liked it. It was fun. I had a good time, I guess. They connected with Smith a lot, actually. Charlotte and Smith worked together a lot for a lot of random things. I've been involved in 2 shootings involving Johnson C. Smith niggas.
Wait, we ain't gonna talk about the shootings now.
Okay.
We ain't gonna talk about the shootings.
Y'all niggas is crazy.
I never had for plenty of shootings now.
They shoot at Smith. I was like, I can't go over there.
So when they say they got a bullet with your name on it,
they meant
they mean it because everybody knows each
like,
other.
They ain't playing.
Niggas, this is a Jimmy Jam. Why
With a
are there guns
4.0
here?
will definitely shoot you, okay?
Right.
the bullets say
Or shoot
boost.
at you at
Some
least.
cane-toting crazy
He ain't
nigga
gonna really
will
shoot you.
shoot
He
you
would
in your
just he'll
face.
show you the gun and chase you with
Are
it.
they gat toting, pistol holding
Yes.
niggas on your damn street?
Yes. Whatever line of whatever song that is, yes.
Yes.
Knuck if you buck.
So that's definitely a knuck if you
yes.
buck. I was gonna say if
That's
they
who
were
they are.
rappers, they'd be trill rappers.
But just piggybacking off what you were saying, Coley. Well, I guess maybe my case is a little bit different. I did feel like I had a connection to UNC Charlotte, but I feel like it wasn't as strong as my friends or colleagues who have gone to HBCUs. It's like almost like a light in their eyes when they start talking about it, because then they start remembering their favorite professors, and they know they can always email those professors, hit them up on Instagram, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's my professor. Yeah, make sure you take that. It was like a certain sense of pride.
To make it easier.
Talking about HBCUs in comparison to PWIs, so I can get that.
No, seriously, I do feel that way. I feel like there's a number of professors that I had that went outside of being a professor, if that makes sense. Like you're definitely doing more than what you're being paid for. You know, they were really being like counselors in a way. I've been in a number of professors' offices and literally need to talk to you about something that's just personal, that has nothing to do with your job description, but you're really in here providing real life like advice. You know what I'm saying? And it was just about that. I think that's really what I appreciate of it. It was the fact that they saw me as a real person. As I said, I wasn't a number, and it didn't really matter who you went to. Any one of my professors I could have talked to, and I would have got genuine feedback. It wasn't like, okay, get the fuck out of here, I'm clocked out.
Boo
You never got
he
that.
was in the office plenty of time talking about. She said she's 3 months pregnant,
And she's keeping it.
Well, speaking of fun and fucking,
But Teach, the next thing that came to mind was you.
Second thing was how I know it's mine.
Is it true?
Third thing,
there is
I should have did what I did.
Are you ready for no
ready
kid?
for no kids. Goddamn.
Bye bye to my relationship.
See, the person who got caught up in that scenario obviously didn't go to Xavier's pre-med program. Because while we have our woes and concerns with all the HBCUs, our HBCUs have some amazing programs that they are lifting out and churning out some crazy awesome students. Like I said, Xavier is known for their pre-med program. They have the largest amount of students that go into med school out of Xavier University of Louisiana. A&T in their engineering program, Tuskegee University and their veterinary program. Shout out to Dr. Z if you're out here listening. Thank you for hooking up Rizzo. FAMU at pharmacy, which I did not know. The FAMU had a crazy, amazing pharmacy program. And then the great Johnson C. Smith University has wonderful science, technology, math programs, which I did not know until my mom started working there. So that's really, really cool.
Good nursing program at Fayetteville State University.
Yes.
And Winston State, too.
So we have lots of really, really amazing. And Hampton University, the reason I wanted to go there to begin with, the Scripps Howard School of Journalism was one of the top in the country at the time. So like we have lots of things to offer at these schools. And however you choose to, to sell it to whoever you want to sell it to is up to you. But there are great things to offer there. They don't need to be put against each other or other places.
Yeah.
They're unique in their own way. So much so we have to talk about the fun stuff. We would be remiss if we didn't. We talk about all these crazy differences that are real serious and heavy, but other differences that are more important, things like homecoming, Greek life. Homecoming means nothing at this point to the three of us at this table. All of my homecoming experiences were I've been to G-Ho several times. I've been to other people's homecomings. Homecoming at Charlotte, we have one now, but even still, it's like not. It's
not it.
Also,
It's
let's be clear. Our homecoming that we would get hyped about was in February.
This is true in its initial sense. Yes,
Yes, we
prior
had
to
no
the
football team.
Yes.
So when they
this
moved
month
it to
we be getting
October,
hype back in the day.
exactly. So we would get hyped for like when they changed it when we got the football team. Niggas got hyped for the first like year, maybe two, because it was like, oh shit, it's new. But then you're like, I don't give a fuck. But Central's homecoming, them niggas were literally preparing, like fucking months in advance. I'm like, it's summertime, guys. Y'all talking about homecoming in October? Hype. And when because of the year that we had, I want to say the year we won the whatever the conference Central was in, they won the football big thing.
They won the
was the
football
MEAC.
thing.
Yeah, they won
MEAC,
it.
yes.
And so then they left the MEAC, I believe. But when they were there and they won that year, the championship, like when they came back to campus, it was a fucking shit show. It was the best shit show. It was fun as fuck, and I didn't even like do nothing, but niggas was wilding. They weren't flipping cars like white schools do whenever they win stuff. But
It's a good time.
Tear that shit
My
up.
first my experience at Livingstone that year was pretty friggin' awesome. Carl Thomas headlined our homecoming because he had just come out with his second album, I guess. That it was that She Is and Make It All Right. That album, whatever's on that, that was the album that he had put out. So he was there. He was an hour and a half late. Benji Bangeran, if you're listening, you remember
Carl.
this. We got very, very drunk. And during the time that we were waiting for Carl Thomas to underage drinking at that, like that was my freshman year.
That's college for you.
Right. But he was there. The following year, I went to visit Benji Bangerang. Crime Mob was their headliner.
Oh, God.
And so that campus got pretty fucking wild.
There was knucking if you bucking.
It was. I wasn't on campus for that. I was across the street at Benji's apartment, and I could hear the ratchetry. Like I could see it.
I ain't gonna
could
lie.
hear it,
If
and I was
Crime
like,
Mob
I'm
would have
not
came
going
to
over there.
campus, I might not have been on campus.
I was not
'Cause
going to
that's
go
a
over there.
ratchet fest right there. Okay.
Yeah.
But it was their homecoming was also very, very exciting. Like it was cool to be a part of that. Like I've been back other times because I've had friends that went there, so I can. And of course, like I said, Jiho. Have y'all been to Jiho?
I've been to Jiho one time when I was going to UNCG, and I went down there to celebrate with them. It was pretty off the chain, but I
For
think
the spectators, that Jiho is the greatest homecoming on earth, allegedly. Because I don't go there, so I can't claim that for North Carolina A&T State University.
But just going back to what Naji was saying, when they moved our stuff to October, I just remember trying to convince my friends that were going to HBCUs that it was going to be a lot different.
Yeah, it's
at
gonna be
UNC
fun,
Charlotte.
guys.
It was like, yeah,
It
you know,
is.
we moved it. We got
We
the football
promise.
team now. We about to fucking do it. And you will literally get laughed out by people at HBCUs if you
Yep.
say, "Who's home? What school you go to? UNC Charlotte." Like they would literally laugh you out.
I didn't know
laugh
you guys had
of
a
there.
homecoming until you just told me right now. So thanks for the information.
Yes.
we just didn't have a football team.
We've had a football team. This is what, our 7th year
And
with
it's a
one?
small
This will be
university.
7 years for the football team.
But
We
the
did not even
homecomings are
have
always
a
usually so much bigger than even just the homecoming game. You know what I mean? Like the homecoming game, it should be about that. But honestly,
Yes.
homecomings for me, I might have went to one game.
Most people don't care about the games; they just care about the festivities.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's
Yes.
always the festivities. It's everything else. It's literally bringing back all the different people that have graduated that come from all different classes and seeing. I remember like being young while I was still on campus, living on campus, like maybe like sophomore year or whatnot, and seeing people in like all the nice cars that would come in, but they had their JCSU plate. So I'm like, they really went here. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you're driving a BMW or Mercedes or whatever you're driving.
Yeah.
It's like you actually went here. Like, oh, I wonder what they do. So again, it was like I don't know. It was that feeling of family, but seeing other people from your family that you don't know that's also successful in life. And
I will say
I
that
know I
shit
can
was
do
actually
it,
really
you know?
cool. Like
Yeah.
whenever the alumni came back in for homecoming or around that time, and you started to just see like the successful people come through that look like you. Because most of the time when I saw black people, like when their parents or whatever were coming through in UNC Charlotte, like the ones who quote unquote appeared successful, they were like the bougie, pompous black people who don't talk to nobody. But when I was at Central, like somebody's mama come through and she done cooked something. She got a cake or something. She's
Yes.
like, "You want some of this?" I'm like, "Ma'am, I don't know you from a can of paint." "Yes, I would love a slice of that cake.
Yes.
Please, I am so hungry. The calf is closed.
Right.
And they ain't taking no more swipes this week. I'm dying." And everybody like look. It was like a big ass cookout.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was that part of it I liked.
Yeah.
Now when they left and they dumbass kids started acting like they ain't had no fucking sense, that I couldn't take.
But homecoming is just like you say. Yeah, always for me, it's always it's like a big cookout. Yeah, we always gather on the plots there. Even if you're a Greek or not, you gather on the plots. Just don't step on that plot. That's not related to
Don't
you.
step on
You
the plot.
walk in the grass.
You walk-
Please don't step on the plot. If it is not yours, do not step on it. If you don't belong to that organization, do not step on it. If you belong to no organization, don't step on any of them. You walk in the grass.
Those are things you have to tell people at PWIs.
Yes.
We also don't have plots, though. We have areas that they congregate.
Yeah.
But you know, which I also thought was interesting. Like that was new for me when I went. So we talked about Greek life. When I left Livingstone, I was like, okay, they have sororities here and whatnot, and that's when I was on a path to be involved in that. So I had to go find out all the information, whatever. But like it was different, like noticeably different how they handled Greek life, and then seeing all the other options that were out there, which I mean, didn't necessarily want them, but to know that there were so many other options for it if you wanted to be a part of Greek life, and the way that it was presented at Charlotte was so different than Livingstone. At Livingstone or any HBCU, like Greek life is a whole thing. At Charlotte, it was just like, this is one thing that happens. These are your parameters. Y'all can be over here. Y'all can do this. But it's like one subset, one tiny community inside of this whole other thing. So like we're the only ones that care. Like, y'all make probates, we go to probates, that'd be like a lit time. You see black people you never seen before at probates, and you don't see them again until this next spring or the fall.
Speaking of Greek life, at the HBCUs, did they have Greek houses like how they gave Greek life at PWIs?
Not the one that I went to.
I was gonna say, I think it really depends on what school you went to, because Johnson C. Smith actually had Greek houses back way before I attended there. So I mean, I think like back like 70s and 80s, they actually had Greek houses, but they haven't had them for a while. But outside of that, the Greek life, I would say, at Johnson C. Smith is amazing. At least the years that I was going there, it was amazing. I didn't know of it. What I was gonna say also to mention, I didn't know of any other sororities or fraternities at all outside of the ones from the the Divine Nine, really. So again, the HBCU, the black really fraternities and sororities. Aside from those, I wasn't familiar with that because I didn't really learn about it until I came to college. Period. So me finding out about fraternities. Period. I found about Alpha and Sigma and Kappa and Q and all of that at one time
Smith
all
did
together.
throw a good, pretty nasty party.
Yeah,
They were known for a good little
shout out to the Noops and the Qs.
Little parties like that. I'll give it to him, I guess.
But yeah, I
But then
didn't
they
learn
started
about
shooting.
any of that Greek life stuff until I actually came to college. So my first understanding of that and first perception of it was just the Divine Nine. So for a while, I had no idea about any of the other ones. So I would come to you guys at school and actually see a different girl in a different colored jacket with a couple letters that I'm familiar with, but I didn't know them in that order.
So
I know all the letters, but I don't know them in that order.
See that
So it's
white
like,
girl running around with her Mewtwo shirt on.
that's interesting. Or hear like the guy that I work with at like FedEx or something talking about his experience when he pledged. It's like, he just drunk a bunch of beer, and I'm like,
And ran down the street naked.
it's
Whatever.
not what my friends did.
Greek life at PWIs was interesting because it looked exactly like it does on TV. I remember going to at Charlotte. I went to a party. It was a house that's right
Sweet
on.
Valley High.
It's on that road right around the corner from campus. It's like a house that's off. It's like kind of up on a hill ish, kind of. But
You
like,
talking about the
Hillman City.
Lambda Chi?
yes, I believe so. I went to a party out there and I was like, oh my god, white people really act like this. This is unfucking real. Like, there was like a jacuzzi, there were bubbles, there were like strobe lights, there was somebody fighting over here where nobody cared because they were going to be friends in a second. Like, you had the people who were probably being rushed over here because they call it rush, not polite. They were rushing right now, like that was happening over there. I was like, this is wild. White people really act like this. What is going on? Y'all, wow, bruh. What you got?
I don't know what was the difference between Greek life and the HBCUs and the Greek life here on PWI. I mean, I don't know. I felt like in comparison, maybe just seeing how you were talking about Boost, how serious it was at John C. Smith and everything. I feel like there was a certain sense of seriousness there at the PWI as well, just because it was kind of like almost like an exclusive club. It felt like.
Yes.
And it's already. I was running out of breath. Did y'all hear me a little bit? You already have a small amount of black people. And speaking of which, going back to the homecoming, when we were turning up in October, we were filling up one subset of a parking lot. And just every year, it's like the same 300 niggas that's going to be out there.
It is. That's why I
maybe a
forget.
few more if they got a kid coming out there.
Right.
But I
It's
don't know.
our own mini homecoming.
You would just
In that
see
parking lot.
PWI, Greek life, like the white fraternity sororities. They were just like all over the place doing stuff. They were letting people know what they were doing. Hey
A
guys,
million causes.
I'm really thinking about I'm rushing for or trying to rush for this group, but I just went to an interest meeting for this other side, so I kind of want to do that as well. Like, I'm torn.
Wow,
Like,
that is not
type of
allowed
shit.
where I'm
Yes.
from.
Well, that has nothing to do with PWIs versus HBCUs. That is Divine Nine versus the non-Panhellenic.
Correct.
The
That's
other
right.
one.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to say.
That's
Like,
crazy.
The Panhellenic versus the non-Panhellenic. Like, it's just difference in
How they do
cultures,
things.
but it's not like the school specifically.
Gotcha.
But
I
like,
feel you. That makes sense. That makes
because
sense.
it's just
when I was
how they value
Yes.
or how we value.
Yeah, the
our,
black fraternities and sororities, you don't
are
just
serious.
You don't talk
They don't
about
play.
that
Yeah.
stuff.
Well,
They do
that's
not
the
play.
origin the origin stories. It was done in secret for special people only.
Right.
So that
Right.
has significance, which is cool for us. But they out here in the Gamda Lambda Pi, like whatever the fuck.
Yeah, they do not play. Divine Nine does not play, especially at HBCU. Like, if you're in a Divine Nine at an HBCU, they don't play. Don't even think about going to another fraternity's interest meeting, and then you can come to mine. That's how
And
they
that's
that's how
what
they
I
feel.
was
Like
trying to point out that it was
you
like
make your decision from that first interest meeting. If you went there, that's the frat you're trying to join,
that's a whole
or
episode.
no join.
That's a whole episode. But just saying, that's the only comparison I maybe could see between them. It was like just as serious as they took it at the HBCUs, PWIs, even with the small amount of black people, they still took it serious. But if you transfer from HBCU to PWI, you're just like, wow, they actually have interest groups or fraternities where it's just like we out and about and doing our thing.
I didn't know anything about the service organizations until I came to UNCC. Like I had never heard of like Alpha Phi Omega and all the different multicultural ones. I'd never heard of it before, and they've been around for a while. It's not like something that's brand new, but it's just like when I was at Central, you knew about the Divine Nine, and that was it. Or like even when I wasn't in school, you knew about the people who you knew who were in a fraternity sorority. You knew about
I would
them.
say the same. We actually have all of those at Johnson Smith as well, like Alpha Phi Omega, like you just mentioned, and all the other community service ones. But I think that they were just a little bit overshadowed by the Divine Nine, like you said, because the Divine Nine had been around for so many years. Many of them, Alpha being founded whatever year it was founded, AK being founded, they've been around for so many years, over 100 something years now. So again, a lot of those, it just kind of like I think overshadowed the other ones. Yeah.
But it made it fun. Lots of good times, lots of good stuff. I did want to highlight as we close out here, HBCUs have distributed some pretty awesome people. For those of you out here who do not know, we have a list of some pretty famous HBCU graduates. Oprah Winfrey, even though her and her crazy friend are out here acting up, graduated from Tennessee State. Sam Jackson and Spike Lee out of Morehouse. Taraji, Felicia Rashad, and her sister also, and Toni Morrison went to Howard. K. Michelle and Common went to FAMU. I did not know. I knew that about K. Michelle, but not about Common. 2 Chainz graduated from Alabama State. Erykah Badu went to Grambling State University. Didn't know that. Yo Baby.
Yo.
Yolanda Adams, Texas Southern University.
You knew that.
Wanda Sykes graduated from Hampton. There was a really, really long list. And I just pulled out a couple names. And, of course, you got your Martin Luther Kings and all those kinds of super, super famous people that went to HBCU as well. But we also have some blacks that went to PWIs, Ivy Leagues, if you will. Shonda Rhimes went to Dartmouth.
I did not know
That is insane. Like, that's how she know how to get the bag. Dartmouth, that's how you know. Sanaa Lathan, Angela Bassett, Tatiana Ali, and countless others all graduated from Yale. Angela Bassett has 2 Yale degrees.
Shout out to New Haven, Connecticut.
There you go. Tracy
She
Ellis
was not
Ross.
working there.
She was not working
She
there.
was not working.
She was not working there.
She was
at all.
working, but she wasn't working.
Right.
Tracy Ellis Ross went to Brown University, which is super, super prestigious, and that she's very smart. Ryan Leslie, Courtney B. Vance, Angela's husband, also went to Harvard.
Ryan Leslie.
Issa Rae went to Stanford.
So did Jadena, right?
Yep.
Jadena
She went to
also
college
went
with
to
They
Jadena.
went to
Yep.
Yes.
Stanford.
And then, of course, our forever favorites, Barack went to Columbia, Michelle, and then Robert Johnson, the original president of BET, went to Princeton. So we have been out
Also,
there.
what is I feel so bad. What's the young lady's name for Black Panther?
Which one?
The one that's also from Us.
Oh, Lupita. She went to
Lupita
Peter
Yale.
went to Yale.
There,
and
a lot of
the
us
other
went
guy
to
from
Yale.
Black Panther, the one that led
M'Baku.
the M'Baku, he went to Yale as well.
Winston Duke.
Yes.
Yale,
Winston Duke also went to Yale.
A lot of them have because Sanaa Lathan has and Angela has it, Courtney B. Vance has it, Lupita and that gentleman. It's a master of drama or arts from Yale. They went to that portion of it, so a lot of them have that same degree, which is still cool.
Cool.
It does not take it away.
And you
at
also
all.
mentioned Oprah a little earlier, which got to throw this out there because 3 of Oprah's, I call them her daughters because she calls them her daughters, but they're from Oprah's college initiative program that she has. 3 of them also attended Johnson C. Smith. 2 of them have
what's up.
graduated from there.
what's
Oprah also
up.
did the commencement speech at the 2016 Johnson Smith graduation.
Yes, she did. That Charlotte was blocked off that day.
Which
Yeah,
wig did
Oprah.
she wear?
Oprah, don't listen to this one.
So we no matter where they end up or where we as a people end up, we've been to cool places. We are able to do lots of cool things with our college education. So if you're listening out there and you got kids, send them where they want to go. talk to him about it, let him make that decision, because I think we all made our own decisions, well, except for Naji, because Mama Naji chose for you that first time.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was just where I was going to live on campus.
It sounds so crazy you said that. One of my god sisters, my god sister's daughter, is now graduating high school with a 4.0 GPA. So shout out to you, Jamani.
On a
Don't talk about her
scale?
name. 4.0 scale.
Okay, about to say.
We in New Haven. All right, 4.0 scale. She has a 4.0 GPA. She has applied to a bunch of different schools. She got accepted to many of them. But the point I'm trying to make is that she also applied to Spelman and Clark and a bunch of other different schools. And so you can go to HBCU, and she said, no, they didn't give me any money.
Damn.
Oh shit! I thought
And I couldn't say anything. I was like, damn.
Oh shit!
Bro, I didn't even get into A&T.
She's probably going to UConn more than likely.
I was like,
And that's
how
a
I get
fantastic
in?
school.
Yeah,
How did I
absolutely.
get
We're
into
from
A&T?
Connecticut.
That's fantastic.
UConn is a great school, and they
Yes.
gave her a lot of money. So,
That's what's
shouts
up.
out to you, Monty. I'm glad you did what you're supposed to do in high school.
This is not on here, but
fine.
just playing an advocate, devil's advocate. What is the argument for us still needing HBCUs?
I will say, and I will let Boost answer, but what I will say
Just a question.
is, I think that it's especially now, it is an unbelievably needed space for some of our young men. For the longest, I don't know if the statistics are still the same, but I would assume that they are. As far as women and men going to college, black men and women, there's more women going than men. So I think it's a needed space for our young men and for our young women to feel included, to feel educated, to get the love that they need, to get the support that they need. Mm-hmm. Because you can go, if you don't come from the kind of home that I came from, then you might need that. I don't necessarily need to feel supported at all times because I can get that from somewhere. But if you can't, or you're not familiar with it, you need to get it from somewhere. And depending on your scenario where you came from, it's only going to be genuine to you if it looks like you. Mm-hmm. So sending them into those spaces and teaching them those things is super, super important. I think we need to do better with how we fund them and how we help them out. We have to, because these kids can't keep coming out of there in the kind of debt that they are, or the graduation rates are they are lower for whatever reasons. So we do have to work with that, but I think we need them. Because if we don't, I think it is a place for them to go and learn and grow and find themselves.
I would absolutely agree with everything Coley said. I think, especially with me experiencing an HBCU experience, I think that it definitely provides that resource for young African Americans, men and women, to actually just genuinely be themselves and feel comfortable in their own skin. And that's what I think it provided for me, you know.
And we need that now.
Exactly. Like I said, I left high school not with the best grades, but I left with a great understanding of what the world was like, and I was definitely able to get many of jobs that didn't require college degrees. I mean, I can speak well in a number of different settings, but again, I always kind of felt like I needed to be the person that person was looking for, if that makes sense. Anytime I went to a job interview, I need to be the guy that you're looking to hire. And now I just walk into places being my genuine self and knowing that that's enough. And I feel like I learned that at a HBCU, and I feel like that's what they're needed for.
That's what's up. I like that.
Naji? No. Okay, that was just my question.
No,
I
that's
just
an excellent
wanted to put that out there just in case anybody was asking. So.
I think that the next level to this is going to be when a prominent athlete decides to go to an HBCU. I think that's going to be really cool to see next. They're talking about a lot of the young kids now. It's like who's going to be the one to decide to go to an HBCU, because typically they go to all these other, you go to your Duke or your Carolinas or your UConns and stuff like that. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And it's like, but someone's going to go to an HBCU that's top level talent and kind of put them on the map.
I thought that recently happened, but I'm not really a big sports follower, but I thought some young man recently selected to go to North Carolina A&T. You guys not familiar with that? Okay, more to come on that.
I don't know why he go there for basketball. For what? Football?
I forget, but there's some sport that he's known. Some guy, I seen it somewhere. He's very known. Young guy graduating high school. He's going to North Carolina A&T for whatever sport he plays. But to your point though, that's absolutely needed. Again, I think we do need to send those young athletes, or at least them, start selecting the HBCUs to kind of build those up, because again, they're great resources here for our community, and we kind of look to the PWIs for that. You know, same way you were talking about a little bit earlier. It's kind of like we promote all this HBCU stuff, and we know why we should go there. We ask everybody else who is the more, I guess, the minority, to come there. But when it's going to the PWIs, it's really, why am I going there though? You know, it's not like they're making it better for you to want to come there. So I definitely understand that. And again, I think it's just more of what society is kind of painted for us and what we're used to. So I would definitely encourage all those young athletes to definitely just apply to some black schools, see what happens.
The more you know. Don't leave it off the table.
Exactly.
It's bigger than that. It's not even I don't think it's anything about wanting to go to a black school, not going to black school. But if you're an elite talent, you got to go somewhere where the people around you can propel you to the next level. And I would argue that a school that has the funding like Duke has a very different medical staff than like Johnson C. Smith does for their athletes. You'll still have the medical staff, that you can. I'm sure someone can still be a good medical professional, but the amount of resources that you have at Duke, because like for instance, Zion Williamson went to Williamson. I'm fucking his name up. He went to Duke last year and bust through his shoe in one of the games and had a whole like situation. They were scared about it. Could you imagine if that happened at JCSU with arguably the number one talent, in the country going to this place and then having a freak accident happening? It's like, does that school have whatever they need to have around it to be able to propel him back up? They might, and I don't know. And I think that level of not knowing is probably what makes people hesitate to go to these other schools.
Well, I have a question, and maybe this might lend to a future sports episode that you run. Speaking of athletes going to HBCUs, how do you think the law that's going into effect, or the policy where these players can now start getting paid, how do you think that will affect HBCUs in comparison to this PWIs, where
Give a
they're
short abbreviated answer.
able
That's
to
good.
give a
It's not going
stipend?
to change because they don't have the money to pay them.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, do you think it's going to be more detrimental to the HBCUs?
No,
with that whole thing, or is it
I
gonna stay
don't
the
think so,
same?
because I think that if you're paying a player off their likeness, then you have to have a school that can profit off of your likeness. So whether you go to a D2 school or D3 school that's a PWI, you may not be selling jerseys or anything like that. Versus if you go to a prominent HBCU, like it's just about the level of school to me. The one I think about, like
This
how much
is
money you
true,
have to offer.
because you could be some of those, like, who is it? Smith has won plenty for tournaments. Like Seattle is coming. Smith has won several years in a row, so like they have a good basketball program. Like there's no shame in that at all. So I mean, you know what I mean. And whatever division that they're in. So I think that that comment is like, it kind of depends on where they are in the lineup of all the D1, D2, and all those different conferences.
And would that all come down to you having a good? Because at this point, an agent is going to be more important than ever, probably. I imagine that's probably going to be a whole other market now that you are able to secure funding and payment for
You can't
your
have
players.
agents in college.
You can't have it in college?
At least from what I understand now, that's the delimiter between when you go from being an amateur to being a professional, because you don't have an agent when you're not supposed to have an agent when you're in college.
Can you have an attorney? Yes.
I don't know. And that's semantics. Like
I want
that'll
y'all
be
to find out
like name
for that sports
splicing or
episode that
whatever.
we have.
Name splice, but I mean, I guess you having an advocate of some sort, whether it be through
Your
an
mama.
unofficial agent.
Could be you just can't pay them. They
You
just can't be getting
they
paid
can't
for
be
it.
getting paid to negotiate for you to go to these different schools. So if you know John C. Smith has a good football program or a good basketball program for CIAA, well, what's the value of that to me going there in comparison to going to Duke, where I know they are going to be selling out tickets and all this other stuff and yada yada? Do I want a moment in time, or do I want something that could be consistently shoot me off into my next level? But I digress. Okay, I just wanted to know that.
No, that's all good. This has been really good. HBCUs, PWIs, make your choices. Make them smart. Work smart, not hard. Please don't put yourself in debt or your babies. That is the point of all of it, no matter where you end up. That has been this shit right here. Good shit, guys. Lots of good diverse, lots of good fun times. We like it. We'll take it. Booz is having a moment with his headset. We're going to pause for a FUBU moment. One for us. One for us. And this week's FUBU moment, the Oscars happened while we were away. Actually, was it while we were away?
We were
I don't
dead
know.
and gone.
I don't know if they were while we were away or before we left, but either way, two directors, both black, a Matthew Cherry and Bruce Smith, won the Academy Award for Best Short Film entitled Hair Love. I have to figure out where I can find it because I
It was
don't.
dope.
Where did you find it to watch?
I saw it on Twitter.
Okay, I was about to say because
It's
like
a short. How short?
It's
Like
like
6
7,
minutes.
8 minutes. Yeah,
You
something
can
like
find it
that.
on YouTube and stuff like that. Yeah.
So I
That's
want to
really
watch
good.
that and give it a shot because that's really, really cool. Oscars, hashtag Oscars so white, but they were the black light at the Oscars this year. So shout out to you, gentlemen, and the journey that you went on to make that short film. That's a cool place for us to win. That's not a place where we usually win. So that's what's up.
That's a fact.
You gotta watch it. It's actually really good.
Naji, I believe you had an additional FUBU moment for us.
Yeah, I got an honorable mention. So shout out to CP3, Chris Paul, for suggesting the change up to the NBA All-Star game. So for those of you who are unaware, the All-Star game has been your typical basketball game for years. But what we decided to do was, excuse me, not only were they doing a Kobe tribute throughout the entire weekend, but also they renamed the MVP award as the Kobe Bryant All-Star MVP award. So shout out to
That's
that.
amazing.
But what they did was they changed the format of the game so that it kind of put more, the word I'm looking for just left me, not emphasis, competition. There we go. Into the actual game. Because for the last few years, it's been kind of boring, to be honest. Because I mean, you have people who are good, yeah, they jump high, yeah, they dunk, but it's like you don't see the passion behind the game or whatever. So what they did was they had the two different teams. Each team was playing for a specific charity. They had like a group of the kids from the charity, like baseline under the basket, like keeping people hype. And each quarter, the score, whoever won the quarter would give $100,000 to their charity that quarter. And then it would, so they would kind of went back and forth the first two quarters, and then they tied the third quarter. So they kind of reset the score every single time. And then the fourth quarter, they played it so that you played to a certain number. So they use the number 24 as the number that they had to add on to. So for instance, if all teams were tied at 100 at the end of the third quarter, your target score would be that number plus 24. So whoever got to that number first, the number this year was 157. So whoever got to 157 first won the game. But one team only needed 24 points. The other team needed like 30 something. And of course, the team who was down, Team LeBron, came back and won. But it was a lot of fun. The change of pace was really, really good. And shout out to Chris Paul, who is one of us, for being also from Winston-Salem, for being a great innovator of the game. He's also part of the players. I forgot the word, but he's really involved in things that happen around the NBA. So shout out to him.
That's what's up.
For the union?
Yes.
Players union?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Sorry.
One for us. Shout out to all of those fantastic black men. Good jobs out there. Well, guys, this has been another episode of Knights of the Round Table. It's been a good time.
This was great.
Thanks for having me,
guys.
Coming back.
Thank you guys for having me again.
I mean,
He was on that night.
Yeah.
This is maybe like the third time or fourth time you had me, but my second appearance though. So,
Boost, won't you let the people know where they can find you if they want to come find you and talk about the Johnson C. Smith University.
The Johnson C. Smith. Let's talk about the Jet Endeavor Co. You can find me on Instagram at JetXDeavor. That is JetXDeavor. Again, that is on IG, and that is JetXDeavor. JetXDeavor. You can find my personal page on IG as well at Fashion Boost Official. And that's exactly how it sounds. Fashion Boost is BOOS, and official the way it is typically spelled.
Is there anything new happening for Jet Endeavor Co. that the hoes and niggas should know out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely do thank you for that, Coley. Jet Endeavor Co. is actually working on a couple of new things. We are actually going to have a new YouTube series. It is called Dress Code, and that will be premiering sometime next month, actually in March. Look forward to that as well. If you will be in Charlotte for CIAA, please do check us out in front of the Epic Center. That is the corner of College and Trade on Saturday. Don't know the date, but next Saturday. And that is between 29th, and that's between the hours of 12 to 2. We'll be out there doing street interviews for our new show. So definitely look forward to that.
I'll come see your boy out there.
So come check your boy out. If you want to see me in person, come see what I look like.
If you need your outfit for CIAA, don't go out there looking a mess. Y'all hit
not,
Boost
because
up.
I will absolutely interview you just to talk shit about you later.
That'll be it.
Wow.
Shit.
He does an okay job. I gave him a tall order. I am very difficult to work with when it comes to styling, and he's doing pretty well working through some things that I find interesting. So y'all hit your boy up for whatever you need, fashion wise, entertainment wise. He got you. He's good out here with it. That's what they breed over there at Johnson C. Smith
University. The prestigious Johnson C. Smith University.
CIAA is coming. Y'all be careful out there, Charlotte. Like, please watch out.
Please.
It is the last time that CIAA will be here in the city. Y'all keep a lookout. You might see Coley out here. You might not. Coley's trying to find a flight out of here. But check us out. We might be out here somewhere. You might see me pop up on the Jet Endeavor dress code. You never know. I might be there.
You just might.
Or I might be at my house listening to Find Your Note 6. We will be dropping our playlists for this episode this weekend, also to kick your weekend off with some good tunes, a little bit of ratch, a little bit of slow jams, all the way cool and vibey either way. Niggas, y'all feeling good? We out here?
I learned a whole lot this Black History Month about HBCUs and just like,
nice.
Thank you for bringing the numbers. I was like, didn't know how I was going to get through it, but you got me through those numbers really good.
Fantastic.
So
I don't want
you
you to be lost. I'm so glad I found you.
Appreciate it. It's I get in the weeds and I don't know how to get out that motherfucker. So thank you.
Cool, for sure.
Oh my God.
Then please do not.
That's how you get out the weeds.
Do not. This has been another episode of Nights at the Round Table.
Naji, kick us off with that, Naji.
It's your girl, Coley.
Trying to hold if I get kicked off
Esquire.
the podcast.
What up?
Boost.
Yep.
Naji.
I can't even get my exit. Boost been singing it all day.
I have to.
Oh, golly. Y'all be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Stay cool. Stay warm out there. We'll see y'all next time.